Here it's Monday morning. The Raptors are on a 2-game winning streak, and they have handed the Wizards their most losses in a season. I can't believe that stat. When I heard that at the end of the game, I was like, really? The Wizards have had some really bad seasons. They actually have lost their most games ever in the history of their franchise as of yesterday. 64 games in a season. That's amazing to me, honestly. Like, seriously. I know they've had really bad seasons back in the day. How the hell did this become the worst season ever for them? I got the Marquise Noel number 24 victory light on. I'm wearing a Raptors champion shirt. Yeah, things are good. That's right. 2 in a row, baby. We beat Pascal and Pacers on Tuesday. Another dinner with Darko, guys. Yeah, let's get that last dinner with Darko. It was so hard to get it for most of the season. Let's go ahead and get that dinner with Darko real quick, but before the end of the season. Yeah. Lots of fun stuff to talk about, to react to the game. I've got all kinds of inside scoops for you guys, all kinds of fun stuff to talk about for sure. Of course, yesterday was a very interesting game because the Raptors, they're back. And in some ways, we want to see them perform at a certain level. The first quarter was amazing. That was like a dream quarter. That quarter was just like everything's going great for us on offense, and they can't do jack shit. And the score, we have tripled them up. 39-13 was the score at one point. That is tripling them up. You do the math. 13 plus 13 is 26 plus 13 is 39. 39-13. That was the score with like 2 minutes to go in the first quarter. This is amazing. I loved it. We looked so badass. It was partly that we were really zoned in. Like, you see Emmanuel before the game doing his silent visualization when he's sitting on the bench and he's just got his eyes closed. He does a little bit of that Undertaker eye flicker underneath. I mean, Siakam did it during the introduction sometimes. You know what I'm talking about. Some people may think that they're demonic when they're doing that, but it's just, there's just a little eye flutter, like a REM flutter while you're sleeping or something like that. Well, he's getting pre-visualized. And this is such a great technique for basketball players because it's something that I talk about a lot with Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson, Irvin, for most of his career, pre-visualized every game that he played in. He pre-visualized every big clutch situation he could be in. He pre-visualized all the different scenarios, and he thought about what he would do in those scenarios, and he lived it before he actually lived it. It's a very, very powerful technique to get to success. Well, Emmanuel pre-visualized like crazy before the game. In some ways, RJ and Emmanuel are renewed from their brief, their time off. They weren't hurt, so in some ways they were in good shape. They could work out. It's just that they weren't playing. Well, they weren't on the wear and tear of a few games, so they've come back with a really good energy and a lot of strength and conditioning. Well, IQ was dialed in right away, and I really do say that pre-visualization technique is a key to this. That he can come out and hit a crazy ass three in the corner right away when he's already just sat there and saw him doing it 5 minutes ago while he's sitting on the bench. It's a powerful, powerful technique. I talked about this in the last couple of years, and it's so nice to have a top leader on our team really doing it and showing the results and the success of it. Yeah, we couldn't miss nothing. We tore them up, and meanwhile they couldn't score nothing. In some ways, the defense of the Raptors was insanely good. We had two of our best defensive players out with hand injuries right now, and our defense right now look badass without them. You just throw Jakob and Scotty in the mix with how these guys were working in synchronization was amazing. Gary Trent in particular. Oh my God, Gary. Yeah, you want a good contract this summer, don't you? The way you hustle down loose balls that aren't clearly for them. I mean, that one loose ball that you hustled all the way down the other end of the court against the Wizards player who really had primarily possession of the ball, and you were like, no, I'm not relenting. I'm going to run right next to him, with him, and hustle my ass off. And you know what? I know that if I push this ball past him, because I'm faster than him, I will get possession. And that's what he did. That's a rare trait in basketball players in the NBA, that kind of hustle and crazy no give up. Like, I don't see people run after loose balls like Gary Trent does when he's running alongside a person from the other team and chasing down the ball. That was super impressive to me. And not only that, Gary was hitting his shot right off the bat too. So on both sides of the ball, Gary was a badass right away. And man, respect Gary Trent. This is how I wanted you to play all year. If you hadn't had such a bad start to the year and you had done this more the whole year, I would be like, oh my gosh, this guy's amazing. And well, he's finished it real right. He's going to make a good case for a good deal this summer. So yeah, I'm really proud of Gary and the things he did on the court. There's a lot to talk about. Yeah. One of the things I really want to talk about is this. Darko Rajakovic's pregame press conference. Now, if we think about last year at this time, there was a press conference in Philadelphia. Keith Pompey asking Nick a question about the offseason. Says, like, oh, what's going to happen in the offseason? And Keith Pompey, I don't even think that's what he asked him, if I remember. Nick interjected in his interview, well, I'm going to take some time off and think about my 10 years with the Raptors, and we'll see what I decide then. And then they were like, well, wait, what about the play-in? You're not even thinking about that? Oh, yeah, the play-in. That was that around this time last year where Nick Nurse kind of gave us the cues that he'd given up on the Raptors and that he was, he was manipulating things with Rich Paul and Daryl Morey to get out to go to Philly. But this is right around when he made that really bad press conference. Well, yesterday, Darko had a press conference before the game that was exactly the opposite. In fact, I think he was doing this on purpose as a nod to the mistakes of Coach Nick Nurse last year in his press conference a year ago. The reporters came to him again with the same questions, except the questions were different this time because Darko's not going to the play-in like Nick was last year. Darko is not playing in a postseason. So in some ways, the bait was, how's you going to deal with your postseason and stuff like that? You know what Darko did? He kind of had you're trying to catch me, like y'all caught Nick Nurse last year. And he said, listen, I'm not thinking about the postseason or vacation or anything else other than these games we have to play to finish the season. I'm going to use every single one of these games to get the best out of instructing and getting this team to be better, to go into the offseason. And that I'm not worried about the offseason, what I'm going to do in the offseason or anything like that. We still have now. And I was like, oh, look at that. Look at the beautiful difference a year can make. You got a coach that checked out and gave up on his team a month before the season end last year. And now you got a coach who's been playing for nothing for about a month already, a 15-game losing streak. And he's just as hungry and present and thinking about what he can do to improve the Raptors day to day, even though what the fuck doesn't matter. And you can look at the other side, the Wizards, and you can see that attitude about, well, the season's not really going to go anywhere. We fired our coach. We have the worst losses in our franchise history. The apathy of that kind of losing team. And that's not what we were. In fact, that was a big difference in why we were kicking their ass at the beginning of the game. Because if this is a team that just lost 15 games in a row, the Toronto Raptors, they sure ain't acting like it. No, they aren't, are they? That's kind of fishy and weird. Y'all are supposed to be depressed. Y'all are supposed to be a little downtrodden, maybe a little infighting, maybe not very happy in certain ways. No, nobody's unhappy around the Raptors. And I want to say this is a huge achievement of our coaching staff, that in some ways this has been a really rough sea to sail a ship through this season with the injuries and all the ups and downs and all the L's. And you know what? The enthusiasm, the pride, the dedication is not waned or gone anywhere this whole time. That is a huge accomplishment for a coaching staff. I'm going to say that right now. If people are going to look at the win-loss, they need to hear the whole story, the truth about the Raptors season this year, and how Darko showed a consistency and intelligence and a great control over the team this whole entire year when everything was absolutely tumultuous, upside down, all kinds of crazy, every which way, twists and turns, betting scandals, blood clots, all kinds of bullshit. This guy sailed the ship as the captain and the coach right on through, and the vibes are stronger than ever right now. It's weird because in some ways, the dichotomy of this Raptors season is the unprofessionalness of the November mystery of why the Raptors are not playing up to their aptitude and winning games. In some ways, I was accusing them of not being a professional basketball team. because they're not playing professionally. They're not making free throws. They're not executing. They're not doing things that a basketball team should do if they're a professional team. I question the professionalness of some of the Raptors at the beginning of the season. You can go back and watch my streams. They're on the archive. You can hear me say it. Well, last night I saw the most professional Raptors team I've seen all season long. And the reason why is because these guys are bought in. These guys are dedicated. This is what Darko said before the game also. The front office of the Raptors has done a good job of getting a group of people together that care about the Raptors doing well, and they're dedicated to seeing the Raptors get better. We don't have anybody coming here that's like half-ass and like, I don't necessarily want to be in Canada. I don't really know. It's not attractive to me playing for the Raptors. No, it's not like that. It's not like that for any of them. Obviously, we can see why Kelly and RJ would be very much invested personally to play well for the Raptors. Emmanuel's getting his starting job now. He has a lot on the line. Scotty's a franchise face. He has a lot of investment in this. Obviously, he's coaching the team right now. It's obvious he's invested. So I'm just saying, this is crazy. If it took all the transition, all the confusion, all the roadblocks, all the crazy shit that the Raptors had to go through this year, that we got to a point where we have a very professional together team, I am with it. I am with it. If this had to be a larvae stage of metamorphosis to get to the butterfly at the end, well, we did it. And it's so badass to see the smiles, to see the connectedness. This team just lost 15 games in a row last week. How the hell are they so happy? How the hell are they so upbeat? How the hell are they so connected still? How are they still connected? Why didn't they turn on each other? Why wasn't there some ego at some place causing a problem right now? Nah, it's crazy. It's amazing, honestly. So you go all the way down through the bottom and through the mud, and you come back out smiling and gleaming like, yeah, you can't stop me, mother. I'm coming. How much time in the game had passed before Matt Devlin said, this isn't a rebuild, this is a retool, a reboot. This isn't a rebuild, this is a reboot. Taking some of my lines from a couple of months ago. Because it's like, look at the team. Does this look like a Charlotte team? Does this look like a Washington team? Does this look like a team that is going to be messing around with losing for like years and years to come? No, it is not. No, it is not. That is either a playing team or a playoff team next year, the Toronto Raptors. It's evident. It is evident. It is evident. So kudos to Coach Darko and his staff for sailing the ship through these rough seas all season and getting a professional team in the end, a team that's dedicated and connected. And honestly, it's amazing what they were saying yesterday. RJ and IQ saying, we finally feel like things have settled down. And in practice, we're handling it a little differently. We're talking a lot about what people like and what we don't. And we're really crafting kind of getting the relationships and the habits of each other known to each other so that we can really hone our connections and synergies. That they're doing this in practice now. There's a real dedication to get good as a unit, to play well off of each other. And we saw it at times last night already, right away. I mean, in some ways it was on the defense. Think about that defense synchronization in the first half last night, especially in the first quarter. These guys were really working off each other very well. There was good communication. There's good trapping. They were stymieing every single thing Washington tried to do from the start of the game. And the fact that Washington barely scored any points in the first quarter is no joke. It's because the Raptors were connected and they were playing a very, very good defense, and they didn't even have their best two defenders in the game. It's amazing. Honestly, Abaji is an all-star at defense. This guy is badass. Kelly Olynyk directing traffic in the center as the defensive center when he's in there, amazing. Gary getting after it and putting real effort into it is different. Is a badass when he's full out on defense. He is amazing. So good. Yeah, I'm really impressed with how connected, how dedicated, and how professional the Raptors are at this point in the season. They have every reason to be anything else than that this season. Seriously, think about that. They have every single reason to be anything but what I just described. But they are what I just described. And it's a badass thing. You know what it is? Yeah. Next year? Yeah, that's right. That's right. I got to wear shades because this future is bright. And we're gonna be wearing the shades next year because it's gonna be so bright. In fact, maybe I should wear these today because turn around up in the air, the sun is getting blocked out by the moon. It's a total eclipse of the heart. Turn around, bright eyes. Every now and then I see the sun go away because the moon flew over it. Total eclipse of the sun. Yeah, that's coming on today. I will warn people, at least have some it's too cool for school. My future so bright shades watching it. Okay. Don't be looking at it straight. You're going to go blind. And you don't want that. You seriously don't. No, 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 no. It's not worth looking at just to go like blind a couple days later. So please be very cautious when exercising eclipse viewing today. Please, please. Just a friendly public service announcement from the Raptor Freak to the world. Please don't burn your retinas just to go look at something that's just a natural thing that happens that they knew was going to happen 100 years ago. That's the other thing. Everybody's freaking out. This is a sign. This is a sign of the end times. What the fuck? We knew this was going to happen like a long time ago. This is going to happen. It's just going to happen. This has happened before. It's going to happen again. So yeah, come on now. Come on now. I know there's a war in the Holy Land and there's all kinds of crazy shit going on, but come on now, guys. The rapture really today, it doesn't seem like it. It's like a new moon on Monday. It's just a Duran Duran day. New moon on Monday. And it's also a total eclipse of the moon or the sun. It's 80s radio today. That's right. Too cool for school. I gotta wear shades. I gotta wear shades. All right. That was your 80s moment for there. Yeah, there we go. All right, let's get in the comments. I got the stars of the game. I've got all the fun stuff we do. Let's see what's up. Dana is first in. Let's see. Good morning, everyone. What a win. Yeah, man, Darko's awesome. One of the other things he said before the game, Eric Kareen straight up asking Darko, will Scotty and Jakob come back this season? Ooh, that's a hot button topic, isn't it? Yeah, will Scotty and Jakob come back this season? Could they come back? And this is what Darko said. He says, I am not expecting them to come back or not come back. Oh, riddles. I am not expecting them to come back or not come back, is what he said. And it was kind of like, okay, all right. He has no expectations. He did say this. They are getting more and more active in practice, and they're ramping them up, is whatever that means. He said the goal is to have them in the best physical shape by the end of the season. I don't know if that means playing them. He really is being very unclear about things with them. I will say this, when you see those guys on the bench, Jakob still got something on his pinky, but Scott's hand is free and clear. There's nothing on Scott's hand at this point. There's no brace, there's no cast, there's no nothing. And but it does look real big and swollen still. Like there's still kind of something that needs to come down with swelling in the middle of his hand where he broke it. So I don't know, man. In some ways, some people are crying out for Scott to come back for at least one game and try and get 26 points. Because if he scores 26 points in one game at the end of the season, he will average 20 points per game for the season. It's TSN's Karthika. She's such a numbers a nerd. And she just really wants that nice square number of 20. She doesn't like seeing Scotty's scoring average being 19.9. So she just really wants that 20. So she's crying out, play Scotty just one game and let him get 26 so he can average 20 points for the season. There's a little bit of update. I don't know. Seriously, Scotty's really anxious to play again. He misses hooping. He said it on his Instagram the last week. And I mean, I could see this happening possibly. I don't know. Maybe down in Miami, they do get one game before the end of the season just for fun. Just for fun. Just come back and play one game. I don't know if Jakob will come back. It's less likely Jakob will come back. More likely Scotty will. And part of that is the big body conditioning. In some ways, it takes longer to get the big guys more conditioned and ready. Scotty's a little bit more athletic than Jakob. And in some ways, he may be more likely to just make a one-time appearance before the end of the season in these last 4 games. But yeah, it's going to be, we'll have to see how it goes. We'll have to see how it goes. It's not totally, they have not officially shut down Scott for the year. That's basically the message here. All right. So, but don't expect, just in case, but also he's not done for the year officially, guys. That's not what they've said. That's not what they said. All right. Let's see. Dana's saying Jordan Poole gets the salute today. I'm in a good mood from that win. There you go. There you go. Just for you, Jordan Pools. pools, falling on the floor pools. Yeah, he still fell on the floor at sometimes in the game last night. He had weird little things that happened. Man, in some ways, I feel bad for Jordan. I know that he felt so good being on the Warriors and having that swag of being a junior splash brother. And then, wow, man, you shouldn't have said that shit to Draymond, obviously. Yeah, Draymond's got power in this league. Rich Paul, Clutch, LeBron James. And yeah, the Warriors, don't get in mess with somebody who's like him on your team. No, you get what you get. You're an exiled wizard. Now, you're a wizard in exile, much like the wizard Kuzma was exiled before you. Yeah, that's what happens. In some ways, the Wizards is a team like in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It's like the Isle of Misfit Toys, that kind of shit. It's just like the exiled Wizards Island. And it's just like, yeah, you just go to the Wizards Island and you're exiled on it, away from other teams that win. It's sad in some ways. They talk about the Wizards franchise and why it's so bad and just kind of what's happened to it. I really say this, and this is a great example for Raptors fans that are kind of not keen on our front office right now. You have to understand that there are very much levels in front offices, and we have one of the top front offices in the league. And if you don't have a good front office, well, you're the Wizards. That's just what I got to say. And y'all need to respect this, seriously. And y'all need to protect and trust in Masai, is what I'm saying. Because honestly, it's crazy. It is crazy what you can be other than, there's different levels in the NBA. Trust me. And the Wizards, that is a level you don't want to be in any time. They try to talk about what's happening with the Wizards on Raptors Tonight or on the broadcast even. Alvin talking about it. It's like, well, they had Bradley Beal and he was trying, and they did so much with Bradley. And it's true. Bradley elevated them when he was younger and he was better. He's not as good now. He can't do it at this point. He couldn't do it a couple of years ago for the Wizards. And they get decent guys around them, some good size. They had people like Paul Pierce pass through there in different times. Washington's had quality, good players. They've battled us in the playoffs in series that were very contentious. They beat us in the playoffs before. They've had weird success and then really no success over a long, long period of time. They won their championship in the 70s. I think that they haven't won longer than like the Knicks or the Sonics. It's crazy. They're way, way back there. The Wizards with Wes Unseld as their center winning their championship. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy times. Trevor J saying, good morning, Raptors family. Big win. So happy that we didn't have to listen to negative comments. None non-believers. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think a lot of the casualness around the Raptors fandom is gone and not paying attention at this point. They've thrown up their hands and gone away. Well, they're not paying attention. They see the score and they're like, oh, the Raptors are winning now all of a sudden. Oh, well, too late, too little, too late. I don't need to watch it still. It's weird. There was like a different crowd in the arena yesterday. I'm sure Mo can attest to this, being down at the game. This is the thing. When you get a Wizards game at the end of the season and both teams are losing teams like they are, you're not going to get the normal Raptors crowd. In some ways, you're going to get a lot of people that are going for the first time. You're going to get people that are going for the novelty. You may have friends that are season ticket holders like, yeah, they're really bad, and they're playing the Wizards. Do you want to go on my tickets? And you're like, yeah, I'd love to go on your tickets. I've never been to a Raptors game. So there's a lot of first-time people going to the games like yesterday. In fact, you could see it when the little girl put her foam finger on the court. What the fuck was that? It's like, and then Alvin took it as an opportunity to say, all these kids these days are just leaving their shit all over the place. Yeah, this kid had his foam fingers on the floor. All of a sudden, the mom was embarrassed. Oh my gosh, it was on TV, and they showed them and everything. Oh my gosh, you got your little DeAndre DeRozan NBA moment, young lady, putting your little red foam fingers on the court. So James Capers was like called a timeout so that she could remove the foam fingers from the court. Yeah. Yeah, what was that? You see something weird in every NBA game. There was a game in 905 this season at Scotiabank Arena where a child threw a chocolate bar on the court. It was a school day game, and some kid took a full chocolate bar and threw it on the court. I swear Eric Curry took a bite out of it when he picked it up. I don't know if he did for sure. I'm just kidding. I don't think he did. He might have, though. Maybe it landed in peanut butter. He's like, whoa, what is this great combination? What? Chocolate with peanut butter? All right, let's keep going. All right. Oh, yeah, Trevor J. Oh, let's do it. All right. Like Cosmic Card of the Day. First person to write in a full name will get 100 points added to the Raptor Freak Trivia score. So let me see who I get today. Oh, this is fun. I love this one. This is awesome. This is a throwback. And I don't know if you guys know who this guy is. We'll see. Is there old heads in the group with me today in the chat? All right, let's see. It's coming up down the bottom. All right, we'll put it over here. All right, there are two people in this picture, but there's one facing us. It's the one facing us that is the person. Let's see if people can get this. I should bring it up closer, maybe. That's a Hawks jersey. That is a Hawks jersey he's wearing, I believe, number 32. And this card is made by, I think that is Topps or something, Stadium Series or something. John Concax, we got it. That's right. That's John Contract. That's right. That's the famous John Contract. Yeah, they call him John Contract because he had a crazy contract. Now, this is the epitome of one of the big white stiffs of the 80s. Then every NBA team had a white guy that was 7 foot, that was slow as hell and couldn't really score, but he was just a big space taker, a big physical presence that could rebound and usually like box people out and do different things like that. That was the epitome of who John Concac was. He had a huge contract, and a lot of people made fun of it because they're like, this guy gets paid that much for what he does, and he averaged like what it looks like it says on the back of here. What does it say? We'll look at it up close so I can read it. It looks like that's what his stat average was, kind of like right there. Is that his average? I don't know what those stats are. Shooting range. What is that? Anyway, he didn't average much. He averaged like 2 points a game or 3 points a game, and he was making like a crazy amount of money. It was insane. In some ways, that was the big criticism of old John Concac. Yeah, and he played with Muggs. He played with Spud. He played with Dominique. Yeah, he's in the 80s, kind of 90s Atlanta Hawks center. John Concac, smooth brown man, getting it pretty quick. Yeah. He spelled it. He didn't spell it right, but it doesn't matter. You got it. You got it, guy. You got it. That's good. Yeah. All right. Smooth brown man. Once again, MVP of the classic Cosmic card. That's right. All right. Let's see. Trevor's also saying Doc shit the bed again. The Bucks look confused. Yeah, the Bucks losing streak continues. Losing again last night. The game last night that they lost was to who they lose? New York. They lost to the Knicks. The Knicks came to Milwaukee and beat them by not by close game, 122 to 109. OG played. OG played in the game. Precious played. It's pretty interesting actually what Precious and OG did. Precious only played for 5 minutes, missed a shot, and got a foul, and then they took him out. So he got one of those quick hooks. See, there you go, Raptors fans. Precious can be up and down on the Knicks too. He's not just like Superman for them. He's going to have Precious games still from time to time. And OG in a return game, this is second game back, 2 for 10, 0 for 5 from 3, 4 points, 2 assists, 4 steals, 2 blocks. He was a +7, and they did win. And we know that OG doesn't have to score for them to win. But yeah, 2 for 10 shooting. In some ways, I don't know. Is Knicks Nation being critical of OG Anunoby for being 2 of 10 and doing what he's doing? No, I hope not. Because Raptors fans know that kind of game, he probably did some amazing stuff to, Giannis and other people on the other side to get them the win. So, yeah, interesting. I'll check in on our guys and do a stat check with the former Raptors. And, yeah, it looks like OG and Precious had kind of like substandard games that they would have for the Raptors at times. So, yeah, pretty interesting stuff. Trevor J is saying 5 stars for me, Gary, Kelly, RJ, IQ, and Grady. I think that's exactly my list, except it's not in that order. Yeah, this is the same 5 that I had for the last one, too. They're the same 5 for last night. My number 1 star is Emmanuel. Emmanuel quickly flirting with the triple-double once again, guys. This guy is going to do this almost every night. I have a feeling. Like, I really was serious when I was saying could quickly have a season like Westbrook or Oscar Robertson in the future in him. Like, it's not out of the question, guys. Seriously. It could be that Maxey is more of a scorer and kind of like he got 50 last night in a double overtime win over the Spurs. It could be that Emmanuel is more like a 3 stat guy, like Russell Westbrook. Yeah. What if Emmanuel is like almost averaging a triple-double in a year to come in the future with the Raptors? It could happen. Seriously. He was fantastic. He just missed the triple-double, 3 rebounds shy, 31 points, 13 assists, 7 rebounds, 4 turnovers, 9 of 15 from the field, 3 of 7 from 3, 10 of 10 at the free throw line. Once again, Emmanuel, a fundamentally good player. And that's why I don't care if he takes crazy wild shots. because he has fundamentals to his form. He has fundamentals to his free throws, and that's why he's 10 for 10. He has fundamentals. In fact, that was one of the biggest discrepancies between the Wizards and the Raptors last night, is that we are fundamentally good. We are fundamentally smart. There were fundamentals that beat non-fundamentals on the court last night when it was Wizards versus Raptors last night. That there's a lot of good fundamental habits in our players, and evidence with Grady Dick. We went crazy and scored the hell out of them in the first quarter. But we let up. No, Grady came in off the bench and he bombed threes perfectly also. Sometimes when you have a lead like that, guys kind of let down and they're kind of like not being cutthroat and taking the shots and making them. No, Grady came out and nailed those shots and increased the lead even more. That is fundamentals. That is like not giving a shit about the score. And I'm just going to make the shots because I'm taking the shots and I need to make the shots. There's all kinds of different things fundamentally we're doing that are better than the other teams. Whether it's RJ and the way he puts English on the ball when he's laying it up, that's a fundamentally good thing. Did y'all notice last night how many times the ball had shooters touch? And they were calling it, oh, that's a friendly rim down there. No. Sure, maybe the rim was a little loose and a little friendly to people last night. But actually, what that was is a testament to something like Kawhi Leonard with a 4-bounce shot that won that series against Philadelphia. That is skill. That is Gary Trent Jr., RJ Barrett having a light touch and getting very good bounces on the rim that it will go down. That is a learned fundamental skill. And not everybody has it. The light touch of RJ over defenders and using the glass and using English and spin off his hands is so good. In fact, if you see a toilet bowl spinning on top of the rim, when RJ has shot it, it's most likely fallen through because he put the spin on it the way he knows it that will make it go in most likely. It's the same damn thing as Kawhi with the 4-bounce shot. That he put a spin off his hand in a certain way that it will give it most chance to hop on the rim and fall through. We had that coming from Gary too. Gary comes in the lane, he takes a little floater and touches it, and the ball may bounce on the rim twice, but it's going to fall in because the fundamentals are strong. And, Jordan Poole had shots like that last night too, where you take a shot and it hit the brick and the back of the iron, and it goes straight up real high, but it would drop through the net. Very, very interesting stuff. Maybe the rims were a little loose last night, but the shooter's touch was in full effect. And that's a skill. That's a fundamental skill that these guys work on. And I love it. I love seeing those kind of shots go in because it really shows the mastery and the hard work of people like RJ Barrett and Gary Trent Jr. when they make shots like that. Yeah. Even Emmanuel. Emmanuel's got some interesting spin on his shot that makes it more conducive to convert and go through the hoop. And that's the thing. You want that. It's a soft touch in the NBA as a big man is good because if you can get that ball to round around and then kind of just fall through, that's it right there. That's it right there. All right. My second star of the game last night is Gary Trent Jr. He has followed up 2 very strong games with another great game, 9 of 16 from the field. I love the over 50% shooting, 2 for 4 from 3, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, 20 points, a plus 18. Now, you know what I love the most about Gary is the shooting was great, and he had confidence to it. And he also has been lately showing fire on the court, talking trash. He makes a big shot. He yells and screams. I love that passion. But it really is the doggedness on the defense, the relentlessness, the way he's coming and helping on traps as the secondary defender coming. When somebody's got somebody, he's coming all of a sudden, him and Kelly are hounding people at the half court. That is so awesome. I know that's part of what Darko has designed. In some ways, he knows the tape of Gary and Fred being terrorists on the backcourt, getting steals. It's just that in some ways, he's taken Kelly and put him in those situations of trapping with Gary, and it's getting really good results. Gary's so good at getting balls ripped out of people's hands and just taking the ball. Like he will literally, if you are not paying attention, he will come and take the ball out of your hands and run down the end of the court and slam it on the other team. And I love that. Gary, you're awesome. You are earning your money right now. Thank you for what you did for my fantasy team recently, but too little, too late. It is what it is for that. But you know what? Listen, we'll have to see what happens this summer. In some ways, I'm really impressed with you. I know you're a company guy with us. And in some ways, man, that does go a long way. And time accrued already on the team and playing with everybody, that should count for something. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how this all shakes out. But you're doing your best right at the end of the season. And that is going to help you a lot. So the third star of the game for me was Kelly Olynyk this time. Kelly was interesting. He was a really kind of stat stuff in all kinds of crazy ways. Kelly is such a very welcome addition to our team. He's so smart. He's constantly talking to the refs. He's constantly politicking. I mean, we literally saw RJ tell John Connolly last night, if you're going to call it there, you need to call it down there. He literally was pointing down at the other end. If you're going to call fouls on them driving to the basket and putting them on the line, you better do it for us too, is what RJ was telling. But Kelly does a lot of that work too. 8 of 12 from the field for Kelly. Kelly's weird because if there's broken plays, he will clean it up. Like there was that one play where JFL got blocked like 2 or 3 times. And Kelly just was like, I'm going to just grab the ball off this next rebound and put it in. And it's like, why didn't JFL dump it off to him on one of those attempts? Like that would have been the smart move. JFL just finding out the NBA is a different level in G League, and you can get blocked over and over again. And then what Kelly's right there in the lane. Why don't you just dump it to him? He'll make the shot over them just because you can't. That was weird. But yeah, Kelly's really heady player. In some ways, he's really cognizant of the shot clock. And sometimes he hurries things up and he manufactures shots for us in really awkward ways, whether it's some sort of crazy Euro step. I don't even know if I can call it a Euro step. I'll call it a Canadian step. And, there's other things he does out there. They're real scrappy, getting after loose balls. Of course, the way he plays defense and the way he guards. He had that scrappiness with Eugene Omoruyi in the game last night. 2 Canadians battling and not very happy with each other. They got double technicals. Omoruyi was a force out there. He's very much a strong player. And he changes things when he comes out there. And the physicalness got amped up as soon as he came out on the court. And Kelly was the person that's kind of meeting that force. And there was a little bit of chippiness there. In fact, I thought they were going to fight. Come on now. Y'all are Canadians. Y'all are from the same country. And Eugene, if you want to be on Team Canada, bro, you don't want to be fighting Captain Canada, bro. That's not a smart move if you want any aspirations to represent your country in the future, is what I'll say right there. But Kelly was awesome. 8 of 12 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3, 3 of 4 at the free throw line, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, 1 block, 21 points, plus 17 in 35 minutes. Yeah, that's that stuffing. 3 steals and a block, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists. Kelly Olynyk, all-round center. So good. So good. RJ's my next star. I would have put RJ a little bit higher up, but his shooting percentage wasn't as great last night. 9 of 19, 0 for 3 from 3, 4 of 6 at the free throw line, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 block, 22 points. RJ is really going to be like a leader on this team, and I love it. He's like such a fiery guy. And I know I've said this a lot in the last couple of days. There's Jordan competitiveness in him. I'm telling you right now. In some ways, this is the thing they did after the game, RJ and IQ. They're making this really a big deal about this partnership and what they're trying to build here in Toronto. We've heard that IQ and Scotty were playing COD in the afternoon before the game, that Scotty is bonding with IQ more. They're playing Call of Duty. And IQ said that in the post-game conference. And after the game, IQ and RJ shared Instagram stories. Well, let's go look at them. Why don't I just say it while I look at it? First, we got Duberdon hugging O'Shea Brissett. The Portland Trailblazers were in Boston last night, and the 2 Canadian guys, former Celtics, embracing each other. Welcome back, fella, is what O'Shea was saying to Delano. So, yeah, good to see the 2 Canadian guys, if not in an ugly arena with green all over the place. Yeah, let's see. Gary has a cool picture of him standing on the court on his Instagram stories. There's a picture of him on the court from the game last night. All kinds of good stuff. Emmanuel quickly. All right, here it is. This is what I want to tell you. He posted 9 to 5 and with the clock and at RJ Barrett, and he's got their stat lines on there. These guys are going to work. They're working Dolly Parton's 9 to 5. What a way to make a living. And they're coming out there to do work. They're clocking in, and they're bringing the lunch pail. And the thing is, that when they talk about going to work, these former New York Knicks that are Raptors now, they're coming in to win. They're coming in to compete. They have a mission, and they come in here with objectives. I can tell. And they had objectives last night. And in some ways, look, it could have been a blowout. It looked like it was going to be a blowout after the first game, first quarter. But the second quarter, we went stagnant. It really was weird. We didn't score from the 2-minute period left in the first through like the first half of the second quarter. No scoring whatsoever. Absolutely dog shit. And I blame our bench. Honestly, our starters were way better than our bench last night. But This is the thing. They had a dogged determinedness to win this game. In some ways, the Raptors getting tested in a close game last night is better work for them to learn and test. Keeping a lead in a close game at the end of the game and winning it and making sure you win it. And in some ways, I wish they had blown them out a bit more, and it wasn't as so close in some ways, but also in some ways, it was very good test for them to practice close games closing out with this unit. And I'm telling you, RJ and Emmanuel are taking this super, super seriously at this point. This is very different. In some ways, the confusion of the injuries and the trades and everything, things have kind of settled. It's the dust is settled. Now these guys are kind of like seeing what the future is going to be, and they know what to kind of work towards. And that's what they're doing now. So we should see some crazy, crazy improvement coming up with guys coming up healthy and these guys taking the time to learn each other better in practice and being dedicated. This is the thing. Darko said they have collected players that want to play for the Raptors and are dedicated to making this team better. They asked Darko after the game, what do you have to work on this summer as a coach? And he said, a lot. He said, a lot. That, yeah, I need to work on a lot. I know. But listen, my duty this offseason is to become a better coach for the Toronto Raptors. My duty is to learn as much as I can. I have all these plans for what I'm going to do in the offseason to make myself a better coach for next year to help the Toronto Raptors win. Is that what I want to hear? Yes. That's exactly what I want to hear from my coach. That he's not above reproach. He's not like perfect. He needs to continue to develop and get better as himself as a coach. And he is going to. I trust him. And I trust that like he means this. And I love that he's saying that we want to get better for the Raptors. We want to do this for the team. We want to do this for the country. We want to do this for the city. And that means a lot. Seriously. Seriously. Keep on going in the Instagram stories. Matt Devlin is Caitlin Clark on blast. She did lose her game yesterday against South Carolina, winning the women's national championship. Yeah, there we go. RJ and Emmanuel both posting the 9 to 5. The 9 to 5. What a way to make a living. Marquise Noel is nothing without Jesus. He's thanking God this morning. Something happened and made him very happy. So he's really thankful and showing gratitude towards the creator above, Jesus and God, for the great blessings. He's celebrating Don Staley's Gamecocks win yesterday. So, yeah, there's your Instagram stories real quick. The guys celebrating the South Carolina win tonight. Zach Edey in the national championship tonight. And we'll have to see if he's successful and wins this whole kit caboodle. Zachy, let's go, Zach. No NBA games because it is the NCAA final game of the tournament tonight. That's right. Yeah, let's go. All right, the other stars. I keep jumping in and out. My last star of the game is Grady Dick. Grady got hurt and he didn't come back to the game. Dick hurt his dick. It's a groin injury, guys, just so you know. 25 minutes, 5 for 9, 3 of 5 from 3. I love the shooting. Once again, I'm telling you, they had a huge lead. He had no pressure on him. He just did the fundamentals. He did what he does. He shoots. He's shooting to make it, not to miss. And Grady showing the really steady shot when we were up by so much. I'm telling you, that says something about his character. There's been instances where Grady will come in and make big threes, whether it's a response to Dame Lillard late in the game the other night, whether it's we're way up high, he's still making the shot fundamentally the same way, whether it's we're down, he comes in, he doesn't care if we haven't scored in 10 minutes. He's busting the dam open and letting the water flow again on offense for the Raptors because he can come in and hit the three right away. And I love that about him, that we need Grady because Grady is a steady, sure shot. And that in all kinds of different scenarios, that is very valuable. Trust me. Whether it's on an inbounds play with a quick shot that you need because the shot clock's low. Yeah, there's all kinds of different ways Grady can be helpful with his shooting prowess. Yeah, 3 for 5 from 3. I love it. 5 for 9 of shooting very well last night. 4 rebounds, 13 points, a +4 in 25 minutes. Yeah, I wish Grady got to play later, but yeah, everybody's gotten hurt this year. It was Grady's turn. I hope he doesn't miss a game because in some ways he has a game streak that nobody else has on the team because everybody else has been hurt and he's the only one who hasn't gotten hurt until now. So we'll have to see if Grady, we'll have to monitor Grady's status for tomorrow. I hope he can just suit up and play. He is a young guy, so there's a good chance. So there's my 5 stars of the day. Honorable mention to Abaji. Abaji was absolutely fantastic without scoring a whole lot. He had a really impressive dunk at one point. Once again, he's in there battling for rebounds and doing a really, really good job on the defensive end. All kinds of stuff he's done really, really well. I did not like the missed free throws late in the game, Abaji, when we needed a little more separation from them. But otherwise, really, really good. And that block you had was insanely good. You've had some blocks this year in recent weeks that I've just been like, oh man, Ashai Abaji is awesome. You know what? I actually realized this is what Abaji is. He's our new OG, guys. We don't have OG anymore, but we have Abaji. And in some ways, he's a different kind of player than OG, but he is similar in some ways. He could be a stopper. We put him on Lillard. We put him on the Pool. It's about like the thing about it is he's shorter than OG, but he can still be like, it's not gonna be OG-itis, it's gonna be O'Shea-itis, because this man can be a stopper. He's a shorter stopper than OG, but he's faster than him. In some ways, he's just as strong. In some ways, it's just a little bit of a shorter OG, but in some ways, there's a trade-off on that. In some ways, where OG's clamoring and kind of lumbersome and very plotting and methodical, O'Shea's a little quicker and a little more scrappier, but still just as strong in some ways. That's the interesting thing. It's almost like we got a smaller, speedier OG in some ways with O'Shea. So I'm going to continue. We had OG-itis in the past that we've given out to people on the other side. Well, it's now O'Shea-itis. Yeah, there's going to be a new thing on this channel, O'Shea-itis. Yeah, and Lillard and Poole got a little O'Shea-itis in the last 2 games for the Raptors. That's right. So good job, O'Shea Abaji. We love you, man. And I really do want you to be a part of our future. I can see you in that group as being one of them. I'm not questioning this. In fact, I don't care if you score. You miss your first 3. I don't care. You're doing crazy good things everywhere otherwise. And that's what I love to see. You're a threat to hit the 3. You can hit the 3. In fact, we saw really good pick and roll action with Abaji, and he was dunking in the lane on 2 defenders, going between them and dunking on them. Those highlights were amazing. Holy crap, that first quarter was so good. It was a dream quarter. It was one of these things that Raptors fans just needed after a 15-game losing streak. To watch that first quarter last night, you were like, oh, we were all like jumping around, giddy. I was yelling things like Daniel Bryan, yes, 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 yes. It was just like that in the first quarter. And then, of course, the stagnation of the first half of the second quarter was really disappointing and sad. And you're like, oh my gosh, no, don't do this. It is what it is. We won. That's all that matters by the end of it. That's right. Cowboys here. Good morning, Lex and Raptor Freaks. Dap. Alley-oop to Canadian Dana for always saluting the right people. And let's go, Darko and the Raptors. There you go, Cowboy. All right. Yeah, we're going to give Canadian Dana some big ups. She's having a fantastic week. And yeah, good stuff, Dana. You got the Dennis Schroeder 17 or Garrett Temple 17. Yeah. Kareem saying, I guess I ought to be the one to say it. Every fucking time RJ Barrett touches the ball, he gets into full Mike Alstott mode and bodies everyone until he gets to the rim. Schoolyard bully. Yeah, quickly loves to flirt with that girl named Triple Double a lot. I'll admit, she is pretty. All right, Kareem, I'm going to give you a dunk. Just one. But yeah, I like what you're saying here. Yeah, RJ is like a fullback, like the old Tampa Bay Buccaneers fullback you just named. Yeah, he is like that. He's muscling. He's going in there, and he's a fighter. In some ways, he doesn't get all the calls, but he doesn't care. He doesn't get all upset. They were dirty last night. The Wizards took some cheap shots last night. They took a cheap shot on RJ first, and then they took a cheap shot on Gary Trent Jr., and yeah, that was bullshit. In some ways, that's what these kind of teams do. We go out there and we whoop their butt right away and get a really crazy first quarter. Well, afterwards, in the second quarter, they start taking cheap shots. Maroi, Abdia, Baldwin, all those guys are taking cheap shots left and right. It's like if you can't play right and you're not very good, they go ahead and play dirty. And so there was a lot of dirty shit from the Wizards, especially in the second quarter. Is what I'll say. Yeah, they were playing very physical. And in some ways, James Capers and them were allowing it. And that was not cool. Yeah. So, yeah, bully roll, not backing down. There's certain things that the Raptors do right now. They are automatic respect. They're not taking no crap from nobody. In fact, it was great to see Kelly not back down to Eugene Omoruyi. And, we've seen different guys come and stand up for people. Like IQ had Kelly's back in that whole thing with Eugene. Yeah, there's a lot of different interesting little things happening right now. as far as the team and how much they care about the team is different. It is different. That era with Kyle and DeMar, that was very much they cared too, but it's just different. This is different. This is different than how the team cared at the beginning of the season with the cast of characters that we had, the way we care right now. Trust me, it's a very different thing. Very, very different thing. Cowboys sent alley oop to Kareem. Yeah, we got him. We got him. Yeah, thank you, OG. That's right. Chris is here. Good to see MSJ. RJ is flat out good. And IQ, the guard I always wanted. Yes, I like JFL too. Laugh out loud. But again, the trading of OG IQ is better deal for us. The promise of him is crazy. Like what I just said earlier. Like, could he be a triple double machine? Could he average this even better? Because, like, honestly, we're just scratching the surface with him. In some ways, he's not totally knowing his team like the back of his hand as he could. He's going to learn and gel with these guys more and more. And that side eye pass that he had right at the beginning of the game, did you see that? The angle the cameraman got was perfect. Is Emmanuel's dribbling and he's kind of like looking side eye like this. He's like looking over and he gets RJ whips it over his shoulder real quick right to RJ and RJ's laying it in. Yeah. There's definitely a court vision that Emmanuel quickly has that's underrated. I think it's really easy to value the shots and the crazy stuff he does, the maxi kind of stuff. But there really is a passing acumen that he has that we are not talking enough about. And the balancing of flowing the water, once again, is supreme. It's like, listen, a lot of guys that do what he does in the league get messed up because they pick the wrong one at the wrong time, whether they should shoot or they should pass. And well, his decision making, deciding that decision between those two things is on point. He's making the right decisions. He's getting into the right people. He's getting people involved and he's getting himself involved too. He's checking all the boxes. And meanwhile, also, he's getting on the boards and boarding like he's a forward. That's awesome. Emmanuel, you are a badass. And I'm so proud to have both you guys on our team, you and RJ. So good. So good, Chris. So good. Cowboys saying, and we still have a pick late. We still have a pick. Let's go. OG, you're the best. Thanks again. OG, you're the best. All right. Trevor saying South Carolina finishing with a perfect season and winning the championship when done is in the history. The only school to win 3 championships and to back to back. Yeah, that's an impressive feat. Dawn Staley is one of the greatest women's basketball players ever. And she is a really good coach too. And that's a testament to that program, the consistency and the way they won. Yeah, that's a big deal to beat Caitlin in Iowa. In some ways, there were scripts they wanted to write probably yesterday. Well, it didn't happen. They went off script and they did what they wanted to do. The Gamecocks. So yeah, it's an impressive feat, honestly. Chris is saying maybe that free agent we signed turns out to be Gary after all. Him and IQ seem to fit. Dick for the 6-man role, in my opinion. Too early to start him with the holes in his defense. Yeah, I can't disagree with what you're saying. I think a lot of it is on point. We'll see. In some ways, I don't mind getting Gary back, but I want to get a new guy too. I think we're going to have to see. We'll get a new guy from the draft, and we'll probably get a new free agent also. So we'll have to see how it all works out, Chris. In some ways, I really do have a soft spot for Gary Trent Jr., and I do want to make it work out. But I don't know if it will, though, because of Rich Paul. And that's the thing that's going to piss me off probably is his representation. If they don't work with Masai, and it's not a fair deal, and something weird happens this summer, forgive me for not believing in clutch sports. They have not been really good with dealing with us in the last couple of years. So, yeah. I think that there is definitely a connection, and they're figuring each other out. And that this kind of work already built up is going to be conducive to wanting to re-sign Gary, is that there are showing good synergies and connections in different ways, for sure. And I'll agree. Grady probably shouldn't start next year if we have our full complement of players. He's a really good 6-man shooting guy, instant offense off the bench. And that may be the role he needs to learn right now. But I'll bet you he'll be a starter down the road. When we drafted him last year, I wasn't sure where he would fall on the depth chart in the end. But I think he can be a full-time starter down the road. I mean, he's proven it recently, even though they lost a lot. And yeah, the defense stuff is what he's got to work on the most to get consistent minutes and possibly be a starter in the future. Yeah. Kareem saying at Dana, the number one foam fingers people have at games. I feel like you own 2 foam middle fingers. Well, they don't make the middle finger ones. Those are like this. That's not what that is. Like, does that look like a middle finger out there? I mean, seriously. In some ways, it's like, look, it's this is a real Hulk Hogan foam finger from the '80s, and this is actually his shirt that my friend caught. This is a piece of Hulk Hogan's ripped shirt from the ring, and I have a picture, have an actual piece of Hulk Hogan's shirt from the '80s. Like he always did that, he just ripped the shirt and threw it in the crowd. Well, this is one of his shirts. Well, this is not the middle finger, although this finger ripped off. You can see the rip right here. I could have glued it on here, I guess. If you want the Dana one finger salute, go get a Stone Cold Steve Austin foam finger. That will work really well for that. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. And Cowboys laughing about it. Kareem saying, so it's not if, it's how much are we going to sign Gary for the season, off season? I'm not with this totally. I don't want to say we're just blindly going to sign Gary. I really am 50-50 on this, guys. I like the idea of it, but if the money is not right, and things are weird and screwy with Clutch, I say no go. Don't even go down that route with them. There are other options. So it really is like, how much does Gary value being in Toronto? Because if he values getting more money like Fred did, then staying in Toronto, let him go, is what I'm going to say right now. That's really my philosophy right now. In some ways, yeah, Jordan Bolton, I see you again last night tweeting during the game. Pay him with exclamation points all the way down. Pay him. I get it. In some ways, we want to make the puzzle pieces fit that are sustainable for the future. And we don't want to overpay Gary for possible inconsistency that just isn't getting to what we want from what we pay him. So there's a balance here. There's a certain level of like, well, we got to figure this out. We got to see where they're at with their camp, Clutch, Rich Paul, Gary, and we got to see where Masai is at and what he thinks and what he wants to do. So, I mean, there's no slam dunk, and I'm not going to just say, let's pay him whatever the fuck he wants. No, I don't think that's right to do in some ways. I don't think that's right to do. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Dana's laughing. Kareem saying, I feel like that Vince tribute at half is just putting all Torontonians on notice that his jersey will be hung up in the rafters. That was an interesting little video. I watched it. It wasn't as good as I thought it would be. Though some of the people that were talking in it, I was like, why are they talking? What the fuck is this person talking about Vince Carter and this? Now, the only person that said that was Tracy McGrady. He said his jersey should be in the rafters. That was McGrady that said that. And he's his cousin. Of course he's going to say that. He loves Vince. It's his family. In some ways, maybe McGrady's like, well, if Vince gets his jersey up there, maybe there's an outside chance I can get my jersey up in Toronto. Yeah, yeah, right, Tracy McGrady. There's no way you are going up there. Come on now. Grady Dick has a better chance of being his number one retired than your number one, my guy. Seriously, you were there for 2 years, and what did you do? Your stats ain't jack shit. Come on, man. We can't be doing this. In fact, McGrady's example of why we shouldn't retire Vince's number. It's like, what the fuck? We can start retiring 1 and 2 for Tracy McGrady and Kawhi Leonard? That doesn't make any sense. So if they are buttering us up for it and it's going to happen inevitably against my wishes, so be it. It's not like I have control over the situation. And I have to recognize that and be okay with whatever happens. I'm just saying and pleading with MLSC, do not retire Vince Carter's 15. It is not the right way to honor him. Trust me. It just isn't. And if you really care about the real ones that have been there since day one, like Monique Lawrence and myself, you will listen to me. There's so many different ways we can honor Vince that are meaningful and more apropos to his contributions for the Toronto Raptors franchise. And retiring his number and putting it up there is not the right one. I will stand on this hill. I will stay with this line. Say, I draw the line that this is not what we should do for him. There's so many other ways we can honor him. That's what I'll say right there. We'll have to see, Kareem. It could be they're trying to butter us up for this. I thought that, before the game, after my tirade yesterday about this subject, that they might spring it on us, that April Fool's joke that Trevor posted a week or so ago was going to be actually true, that they were going to retire Vince's number yesterday during halftime, but they didn't. He wasn't even in the house or anything like that. Nah, they can't do that to us. Y'all can't spring like a jersey retirement. They might have to do that with Vince, honestly, guys. It's like they won't even give you a heads up. They'll just guerrilla sabotage us. Like all of a sudden, boom. Hey, we're retiring Vince's jersey tonight. Y'all didn't even know it. And everybody's going to come to the game. Because if they announce it, there may be enough people like me that will come down there and fuck it up. Not that I would come down there and fuck it up. I'm just saying, if people know it, there'd be a lot of people that want to go down there to see it. But there may be some people that go down there and they want to be like booing it and stuff. So they may not want to announce it ahead of time because it could cause trouble. I don't know. I really don't think they should do it. I think it's a very, very bad decision if they do. There's all kinds of different ways to do it. That 15 logo dinosaur thing is awesome. Use that next year. Make a Vince Carter day. I don't know. Do a Welcome Toronto thing with Vince Carter instead. You know, however you want to do it. Just don't put his numbers up in rafters. That's a special thing, a sacred thing, and that is for Raptors that were in good standing the whole entire time. That were absolutely model Raptors. The people that were ambassadors for a brand and our team, of no matter what part of their life it was. People like Jerome Williams, people like Morris Peterson, people like Alvin Williams, people like Kyle Lowry. That's what I'm saying. There's a difference here. There's a difference between real ones and fake ones. And the epitome of a fake one in Raptors history is Vince Carter, because he faked shit and did really underhanded shit near the end of his Raptors career. I know that they're pleading with us to forgive him. I do forgive him to an extent. But just because you forgive somebody doesn't mean you give them everything afterwards. In some ways, it's healthy to have boundaries after somebody hurt you or did something fucked up to you. You know, I did watch the stream back, and I never said beat their wife. I said abusing. In some ways, I know that term can mean like what was mistaken by Blackhawk yesterday. But no, I literally meant abusive, like being mentally abusive or verbally abusive. Because in some ways, that is apropos to what Vince did. He is mentally abusive to Raptors fans because of the way it exited and how we felt afterwards and how everything came crashing down. And then he was verbally abusive towards the Raptors team by being toxic and talking shit about us in American media and broadcasts in the years after too. So I feel like that's apropos. I did not mean to make light of domestic violence and abuse where people are getting hurt, killed, or beat up or something like that. No, it was mainly verbal abuse I was alluding to when I said abuse. Just as a disclaimer yesterday. And I went back and watched it, and I never said beating them up or anything. I said abusing. And to me, I don't jump right to physical abuse when I say that. I mean, I think of like verbal abuse is what I'm saying. Anyway, that was just a disclaimer. Blackhawk, all respect, my guy, all respect. Let's see. Alley-oop Kareem, he's on a roll. What's your guess on the price? What do you mean? I don't want to pay Gary more than Bruce Brown. Yeah, I want to pay him right around 20 million. He can get 20 million a year if he wants to pay. He should get a contract similar to Jakob's. Jakob is on a steal. Everybody thinks that we overpaid Jakob. You're idiots. You're such dumbasses. We actually got Jakob on a really good deal. So yeah, you can pay right around what Jakob gets paid. I'm fine with it. Let's see. If that may not be enough. They may be greedy. They may want closer to 30 million a year. And I'm like, yeah, getting over 25, you may be pushing it. I want to be under 25, between 20 and 25 million a year. And not 25 to 30 million. No. That's maybe too much. That is maybe too much. I say 20 million is probably the sweet spot for Gary right now. That's what I would say. Trevor's saying JFL got blocked 3 times. Then Kelly got to take the rebound and put it back. JFL, welcome to the NBA. Yeah. I mean, seriously, that's what I'm trying to say. All right, this is what I'll say about JFL, guys. JFL is a great G League player. Now, one of the ways he scores is in proximity to defenders. He's not one of these guys who seeks space. A lot of players get really good at making space. Think James Harden in his jab step and step back to get away from the defender. Well, JFL goes to the defender. And the NBA has a bigger defenders in it. He's going to get blocked. He's going to get muscle. He's going to get physical out. He can't do what he does in the G League, in the NBA, because his game is taking it to the defense. And well, that defense is too big and towering for him to go up over like he can in G League. That's a big problem right there. In some ways, he's not the kind of player that makes space for himself. And that's why he's not going to be in the NBA, because that's a skill he needs as his size. And if he's going to try and play the position he's going to play. And him taking it to down low, yeah, you're just going to get blocked every time. And this is a waste of our time, especially because you didn't just pass it off to Kelly, who's right next to you. He'll put it in. He can do it. He did it all kinds of crazy ways last night, throwing the ball up and trying to flip it in while people are hitting him. Yeah, that's Kelly's game down low. He's really good at putting the ball in the hoop. spinning around and doing unorthodox, ugly shit and making balls go through hoops. That's Kelly Olynyk right there. Yeah. Fiercely saying, good morning, fam, and happy Monday. We got the dub, and at least we won a series over a team. We won a series over the Bucks, too. We beat the Milwaukee Bucks 2-1 this season. We've won 2 season series in the last 2 games. We beat the Bucks 2-1, and we beat the Wizards 3-1. Yeah. In some ways, I don't know what the series is with the Pacers, but we could maybe win or tie the series with the Pacers. I know we beat them once by 1 point earlier this season. I know they beat us one time. I think we are actually beating the Pacers this year too. It's 2-1 in our series with them because we beat them in the dinner with Darko, and we beat them in a 1-point win last fall, and then they beat us once. So we are winning in the Pacers series also. So we could have the opportunity to beat the Pacers tomorrow 3-1, just like we did the Wizards. So there's some opportunities to win some of these season series against Eastern Conference after all. Maybe not against the Atlantic Division teams, but the other teams, we are kicking their butts. Wizards, Bucks, and Pacers, hopefully. Hopefully we can beat them tomorrow and be 3-1 in their series too. Yeah. Smooth saying, well, Cody Rhodes finished his story. Wow, what a night of WrestleMania. All right, WrestleMania recap with Smooth. Yeah, I heard that Cody did win last night. He finally won the championship. This was something that the fans were crying out for and wanting for a long time. They're teasing and trying to make it seem like it wouldn't happen. The Rock being an obstacle, Rock in the way. There's all kinds of weird crap going on with WWE. I don't watch it. I don't care. In some ways, I know a lot of people are very happy about the payoff of Cody Rhodes finally winning and also Sami Zayn winning the night before. So, hey, WWE's product is getting better. That's good. And wow, does that happen coincide with Vince McMahon not being involved ever again? Yeah, it does. Does it happen to coincide with The Rock showing back up and being an invested interest as an owner of the company and putting himself on TV again? Yeah, it does. So, hey, WWE's on the back, on the up and up. It's kind of fun to see The Undertaker show up and be the deciding factor in things. Of course, they're going to use that old magic between The Rock and The Undertaker from matches way before. Yeah, that's good stuff. Of course, they need to use old stars to get anybody to watch because the new stars suck and they're boring and they're dumb. So you need the most electrifying and the phenom to be back to get the interest in the story. That's right. I think they did a good job this WrestleMania. It sounds like they did a very, very good job. I didn't watch any of it. I don't watch wrestling anymore, but it sounds like they did a really good job this weekend at WrestleMania. I'll say that. Trevor's saying, yeah, with some help from The Undertaker. Yeah, rest in pieces. Yeah, The Undertaker. Mark Calloway. Yeah, Texas Red. Yeah, Texas Red. Mark Calloway. Yeah. I could riff on some wrestling real quick. Y'all want to talk about some Texas Red, Memphis wrestling, Texas wrestling way before. Yeah, he went to Japan. He was wrestling as the Punisher over there and some Japanese tag matches in the late 80s before he came to WWF. Yeah, the Punisher. That was one of his names too when he was wrestling. Let's see. All right, let's keep going. Kareem saying, alley-oop to Neon Moon. Today is your fucking day. Block that effing sun. Get that garbage out of here. There you go, Jack Armstrong. All right. Let's see if that's what Cowboy does today. And so you want me to give Cowboy a dunk for the eclipse? Okay. All right. 44 dunks for Cowboy for a natural event. Yeah. Get that garbage out of here. Get that sunlight out of here. I don't know, what time is it starting? Will it happen during my stream? Like, will it get all dark all of a sudden on this side? I use natural lighting, so the eclipse can be seen on my stream. All of a sudden, it just gets dark in here. All of a sudden, like, whoa, wait, it's happening now? Okay, whatever. I don't care. Everybody else is clamoring. There's a weird map that came out in the news recently of all the Airbnbs that are rented out right now. And they're all just across the whole swath of the eclipse path. Like every single Airbnb where there is a total eclipse phenomena is rented. It's like you have a map that shows every single one of the Airbnbs that are in those areas are rented. It's like just a band across North America up through past us. Yeah, it's crazy. It's kind of cool. Let's see. MSJ saying JFL looks to be getting hammered. No calls. They have him on his ass each time. Yeah, there's no respect for these guys. I'm telling you, you got to come in and earn your name. And in some ways, if they don't know who you are, JFL, just for laughs, I'll laugh at you and I won't call for anything for you. You're just a G League guy. Why should I respect you? James Capers Jr. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like in some ways it's really hard to make this league because you got to carve out respect, and he's not going to get respect. They'll put his ass on the floor. They'll hit him every time. Yeah, that's happening. I agree with you, but that's the problem with what I was saying earlier. Is his style of play is taking it to them, and maybe even depending on getting the foul calls. You can't do that in today's NBA. That is one of the differences that people noted is the foul calls are lessened at this point. So you have to adjust. In some ways, it's about converting. It's about making the shots and not depending on getting bailed out with a whistle. That's part of it. Now, some of the superstars like LeBron and Jason Tatum and Joel Embiid, they can play that way where, oh, I'm just going to depend on the whistle and get the line and coast. That's the lazy shit. But people like RJ that aren't going to get any respect, Gary Trent Jr. aren't going to get any respect. They have to convert. They have to make the shot, and they can't depend on the ref to bail them out with the whistle. Well, JFL, he's not better than RJ and Gary with his time served and his respect. If they ain't going to get the call, why the fuck would he get it? So he's got to adjust. He's got to do this just like RJ. Finish through the contact, take the physicality and beat them and put it in. And the same thing with Gary because you can't depend on the refs to call jack shit at this point. It's weird because some people were complaining a couple years ago that they call too many fouls, too many stoppages of play, too many challenges, too many free throws, stopping the game. And well, the NBA thought about it. It was like, you know what? How do we make the game more up and down the court, more entertaining? No, not so stoppage of play. Well, let's call less free throws. Let's call less fouls. And they have very much done that in the last couple of years. There has been a total trend of not calling fouls at this point. There's a lot more physicality on the court. This may be part of Joe Dumars' big master plan and scheme to introduce defense into the NBA again, is to allow a lot and to swallow the whistle. And that's just how it is. Nobody should be dependent on getting the line at this point. You need to make the baskets. And if you're all upset that you don't get it and they come down the court and they get a transition basket, well, you're doubly wrong then. You're doubly wrong then. Yeah. Fiercely saying this team has been put up recently and we're progressively seeing the passing chemistry and trust. I love it. That IQ pass was fire. This team has been put up recently. What does that mean? Maybe that's a translation difference. I don't know what that means. Listen, they've been through a lot and we've seen the other side and we're coming out of it. In some ways, this is the enthusiasm of Scotty on the bench watching this team. I'm sure he was giddy last night watching this team. In some ways, Scotty is watching this team with a very conservative perspective of thinking about himself with it next season and what's possible. And well, from what he saw last night, I'm sure he's really excited about what's possible for sure. And yeah, I'm excited about this. In some ways, it's like we went through the fire this season. We went through the crucible. We're just like at a blacksmith, and somebody putting us in the fire and burning us. But we came tempered in steel, and now we're hardened and tough because of it. In some ways, that's part of what happened in the process of this year. In some ways, it's Darko as a coach has been hardened in steel because he had to go through one of the most hellish seasons an NBA coach could go through. And right away, with no real head coach experience in the NBA level. He's got tons of head coaching experience. In some ways, all right, this is a funny thing that happened last night. IQ got 5 fouls, and he got him like with 7 minutes to go in the game. And Darko wanted to take him out to protect him so he didn't foul out, kind of like Lillard did in the last game for Portland. And for Milwaukee, I keep saying Portland. That's funny. He got fouled out of the game with lots of time left for Damian Lillard when we played the Bucks on Friday. Well, he was worried about that with Quickly, and he came to him. He said, "I want to take you out of the game." And Quickly was like, "No, don't take me out of the game. I'm really hot, and I want to keep playing. You can trust me, Darko. I won't get the 6th foul. I won't foul out. Trust me, Darko." And Darko's like, "No. I don't want to even chance it. I'm going to take you out." So he took him out, but Quick was mad. He was mad at Darko in that moment. That shows a real passion and desire and a will to compete. And you know what Quick had to do? He had to breathe. He had to take like 5 seconds to breathe. He was like, because he was so mad that Darko was taking him out. Now, did that mean he was mad at Darko and he hates Darko? No. It's just that he's such a tough competitor. He really wanted to continue to be out on the court, even if he had 5 fouls and he was in danger of being out for the rest of the game. So he took him out, but he took him out so briefly. He took him out for like maybe a minute or two. And as soon as he brought him back in, what did Emmanuel do? Emmanuel went and got the ball and hit a huge three. And in some ways, that was kind of like, I'm pissed because I got taken out and I want to be back out here. And I'm going to show coach, I'm going to help our team no matter what. And I'm going to hit this big three right away when I came back in. I was really impressed with that because that shows a competitive spirit and a will to want to be on the court in all kinds of ways. Also, a confidence in himself that he can play without getting that last foul and fouling out. He never did foul out, did he? No. But Darko, I won't disagree with his call either. In some ways, the player's ego is going to override common sense sometimes. And Darko had the common sense to say, look, I can't afford to lose you with 6 minutes to go in the fourth. We don't know how this game can turn. We have to take you out just at least briefly. Just at least briefly. But that was very interesting and telling, that whole situation with Emmanuel and his 5 fouls and how Darko took him out. There was another thing that Darko did last night that was masterful. Now, one of the things that happened yesterday was we were winning the whole game. And in the past, Darko has to call out timeouts in the game when things are kind of slipping away. Like, he's a master at calling timeouts. In fact, he showed another aspect of why he's a master at calling timeouts last night. Now, when we were leading, we don't have to call those emergency timeouts really quickly to stop the bleeding or reorganize the guys in the right way to handle whatever's happening from the other team. We had extra timeouts by the end of the game. So what happened was there was one play in particular late in the game, I think it was in the fourth quarter, where RJ got the ball and he was near the basket and he was underneath the basket, and Justin Champagnie, our former Raptor, pushed him underneath the basket. And well, when you get to that point, it wasn't that RJ lost the ball or bobbled it. It's just he's underneath the basket and he's not going to have an easy shot. So there's two outcomes usually. Either he's going to take a shot, he's going to miss, or he's going to lose the ball either by a turnover by Justin taking it or it going out of bounds. So Darko, quick on his feet, recognized the situation was a high probability of a turnover for the Raptors or a missed shot. He called timeout because he had them for he had extras because he didn't have to use them earlier in the game. And that was brilliant. He saved possession for the team because RJ was in trouble underneath the basket with Justin Champagnie hounding him. So timeout. Okay, boom, timeout. And he didn't lose the ball. We kept possession. We reset, and we got back into our offense at a position where we could get back to and get a score. That is brilliant. In some ways, having the idea of knowing that, like, I have extra timeouts to mess around with. If we're in trouble and we need to save possession, I will use them to keep possession. And that's what that was. That was a high-level coaching move. That was a very quick reaction move also, because honestly, you got to do it before he turns it over or tries to take a bad shot. He got the referee's attention and called the timeout and saved RJ from turning the ball over down underneath the basket. That's our coach. And that's the kind of shit that casual Raptors fans need illustrated to them so they can understand how good our coach is. Seriously. And you know what I'm talking about. You go watch the game and you'll see the part exactly how I just laid it out. And you'll see how what I said. They may not have told you on the broadcast, but I caught it. And Darko using his extra timeouts like that to save possession, that's badass. Seriously, that is badass. Yeah, that is badass. All right, let's keep going in the comments. Let's see. Cowboys laughing. And Smooth saying, it was emotional watching him accept the belt, even though I wanted Roman to win. They left it all out on the mat. It was something. Yeah, they're going to like do that. If it's a face win, they're going to have the whole face locker room come out. It was like I saw Sammy and Randy had them up on their shoulders. And John Cena was in the ring also in the picture I saw. It's goofy what the faces look like for that company right now. Some of them look really douchey. Yeah, really, really douchey. It is what it is. The product is gone past me. In some ways, it's not attractive to me. I don't want to waste any time on it at all in any kind of way. I'd rather listen to 3 or 4 hours of Jim Cornette experience than watch 3 hours of Raw, to be honest, at this point. So, yeah, that's great. That's a great moment for Cody. That's a great moment for the Rhodes family. I'm sure Dusty is smiling from heaven above down on his youngest son and his great accomplishment. Yeah, it is a beautiful thing, honestly. Fiercey's got the team on blast. Grady, RJ, Kelly, Emmanuel, Gary, and Darko. I love it. Fiercey saying Oshai is going to be a defensive beast. Just wait for it. I'm telling you, it clicked last night in my head. I'm like, in some ways, this guy's our OG replacement. He can really be like a specialty defensive stopper on guards. He's not going to do some of this stuff with the bigger players, although he can to a degree because he's got some good strength and he's quick. But in some ways, he'll get overmatched, especially as we've seen in this losing streak recently, that in some ways he's going to get overmatched down low against some 4s and 5s. But the way he is, he can guard a lot of the guards in the league very well. In some ways, he's a better guard defender than OG was, I think. I don't know. I'm not totally sure on it. But it's really interesting. And yeah, no more OG-itis, but we got Oshai-itis. And I'll talk about that next season. God willing, he's on our team. And we'll be talking about Oshai-itis. Yeah, that's the new itis that people are going to get from the Raptors. That's right. W, Isaac Campbell. That's right. W. Fiercely saying, I feel more and more confident IQ will stay with us next year. As for Jalen McDaniels, I'm thinking something is up. Summertime may be good for him to reset, and we'll see how he is next season. Yeah, this is a great topic to talk about, and was asked to Darko last night in the press conference about Jalen McDaniels and how he's been a disappointment this year. Josh Lewenberg, you're assuming a lot. Seriously, you come in and say Jalen McDaniels has been obviously a disappointment. And then he follows it up on Twitter with some bullshit tweets saying that the front office of Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster have been horrible at signing free agents, and that Jalen McDaniels is a great example of that. It's bullshit. I hate that. There's some crazy guy, a drunk guy out front cussing and yelling. I don't know what's going on out there. I don't want to know. But this is what he said about Jalen. And he said, and this is Monique said this to me in the chat last night. Lex, Darko just said something that you said before, right? Yeah. I said that Jalen McDaniels is a 2-year contract. He's going to come back next year. This summer, he could work out really, really well, and he could come back and be way better for us next year. In some ways, yeah, this year he didn't get a lot of traction. There's certain things that didn't happen exactly. He was a disappointment, sure, but there's still promise in him. I don't know what it is with him. He has all the physical gifts. He has an amazing basketball body. As Darko said, he really likes his size. That's what he said in the press last night. He feels like this is what's going to happen with him. He's going to work with him this summer. He's going to develop him more. He's going to try and get some things done with him accomplished this summer. And he's expecting him to come back next year and be a rotation player for us. That he can see him progressing and getting better to the point that he can depend on him to be a nightly rotation player for us off the bench. That's the vision he has for Jalen McDaniels. And Darko has not given up on him like a lot of Raptors fans have and Josh Lewenberg has. No. He's just like me. He sees the promise. We can see it in the length. We can see it in his shot. He has a very good shot, and he has a height that he can get to shoot it that nobody can stop. In some ways, he's got amazing slasher skills. It's just he's got to hone it in. He's got to get the fundamentals down and really practice. I worry about Jalen McDaniels as far as how much he cares or how much his drive is, because in some ways, the symptoms of what's the problem is that he's maybe not intelligent enough to understand what he needs to do to switch it on and get better. Maybe he's not working hard enough or not serious enough about his NBA career. I don't know. I don't want to think it's either one of those two things. There's something blocking him from reaching his full potential as an NBA player. And well, maybe Darko can figure it out and he can tell him of certain key things and reorient him this summer that he's a different player next year. And that's really the plan that he has, Coach Rajakovic. And that's what I was seeing too. I mean, he's not somebody to just discard. If we've already got him on the contract next year, this could be valuable still, guys. This could be valuable. And we could see him make a leap and be way more efficient in quality play. That's what I'm saying right there. Yeah. So it was brought up last night. Lewenberg thinks he's a big fail. Fuck you, Josh Lewenberg. Trying to say that our front office is very bad at free agency. That's bullshit. Honestly, that's bullshit. You want to make that perception out there, then fuck you, Josh Lewenberg. I will say fuck you to you sometimes too. Just like I'll say it to Grange. Yeah, don't try and put out shit that's saying Masai and Bobby ain't doing a good job. No, Josh Lewenberg. Come talk to Raptors Freak in the morning. I'll set you straight. On this. And see, this is the problem. He makes a tweet like that on Twitter, and then all the negative fuckers that are against our front office jump in and start giving examples of what they think were bad moves. Jakob deal was horrible. The Kyle Lowry deal was so stupid. Why did they do that? They just pile on and they make a laundry list of their perceived mistakes of the Masai and Bobby front office. Yeah, just stop, Lewinberg. Seriously, this front office is badass, and I get it. You guys, you're a little shit sometimes. You're being a little shit, Josh. Is what I'm gonna say right now. That's right. Let's see. Trevor's saying he's going to be smaller OG on a defense. Yeah, I'm seeing those overtones a little bit. There's some overwhelmingness. The things he did to Lillard were very impressive, although Lillard did get 36 still. James is saying it's nice to get some wins, but I don't want to lose our pick. All right, James, since you have this fear, I'm going to go ahead and talk about it with you in a very detailed way so that I can assuage your fears. All right, as of today, we are 94.4% chance we're going to finish in the sixth position. James, to worry about this, you got to watch what Memphis win total is. We have won 25 games as of yesterday. They have won 27. As long as their win total number is above ours, we're fine. So we can actually try and win the game on Tuesday without them doing anything, the Grizzlies, and we'll still be in the exact same position. So win, win, win right now. And depending on how much more the Grizzlies win, we can win a bit more. Now, we got 4 games left. We got the Pacers, we got the Nets on the second night of a back-to-back, and then we got 2 games in Miami against the Heat. Realistically, I could see us winning at least one of these games, maybe 2 of them. Now, if we win 2 of them, we're flirting with problems with what you're worried about because we'll be at 27. That's dependent on the Memphis Grizzlies winning one more of their games on the other end. So as Memphis wins, we're allowed to win more ourselves. That's basically how it works, James. So the numbers to look at are 27 and 25. They have 27 wins right now. We have 25 wins. As long as we finish with less wins than the Memphis Grizzlies, we will keep the exact same chances of keeping our pick. And it doesn't matter where, it doesn't matter how many wins we have. It matters where we finish in position. And we have a 45% chance to keep our pick no matter what, as long as we stay in this position. It's not going to go up or down at this point. It's just going to be 45% chance we will protect our pick from San Antonio. That's not better than the chance of it not happening. But there is a good wide percentage of 45 that we could fall in. Yeah, if you play Fallout Shelter, you know about percentages and Russian rooms. Yeah, you're going to have different percentages of whether you should rush that room or not. Well, 45%, that's not bad in the cutting of the pie. And it was what I'm saying right there. So, James, I want to assuage your fears. As long as the Memphis Grizzlies have more wins than we do, we're fine. Okay? That's what you got to look at. Smooth Brown Man is saying, will Edie be a top 10 lottery pick? Well, let's see what happens tonight. That could shape it very quickly. In some ways, Zach is going to be a higher than we thought draft pick, I think, because of this tournament. And we'll have to see. In some ways, that prestige and those kind of things will get him his stock to go up. In some ways, I have no idea how to gauge this draft. In some ways, when we get close to the draft, I'll look at more realistic mock drafts and kind of compare and contrast where they're putting different players to kind of get the landscape. But right now, it's all over the place. It's not like last year where it was a very clear number one, Victor Wembanyama. I have no idea who the clear number one is. I have no idea who the top 3 players are even. It's very cloudy. Some of y'all are saying it's the SAR guy. You know, there's people talking about Dillingham. There's people talking about Klingham now being up there. I could even say maybe Zach Edey is a top 3 pick. I have no idea who the top prospects are. I've seen players that y'all brought me to scout, and some of them I like. I know which ones I like, but I have no idea. And it's going to get more and more clear as we get closer to the draft. When we find out our lottery situation and whether we keep it, then I'll invest the work into whether, you know, when I know concretely where we're picking. When I know concretely where we're picking, I'll do more work and put it in and really think about realistic scenarios about how we pick. So let's see. Fiercely saying, I hope Grady is okay. Yeah, he should be all right. Just a little punch to the dick. I don't know. He did when he went to the back, y'all freaked out a little bit. Oh no, why is Grady going to the locker room? You know, it is what it is. The NBA is physical and tough. James is saying if we had Pascal instead of Bruce Brown, we're a playoff team. I mean, yeah. Oh yeah, we should be a playoff team if we're healthy anyway. Yeah, I really do believe that. Like, let's forget about like the first half of the season with the other players on our team. We come to the season full. The team that we have now after all the trades from the beginning of the season, that's a playoff team. We don't even need Pascal. Seriously, we don't need Pascal. If we had Pascal, yeah, for sure, we're a playoff team. But even with that change, James, I think the personnel we've got, I mean, I want to switch some of the G League guys that are at the end of our bench right now and switch people around. But for the most part, the core nucleus of this Raptors team is very good. And that's why Devlin and Alvin are saying it on the broadcast that like this team's going to be in the play-in next year, if not in the playoffs. I fully believe this. I mean, why wouldn't you think that after you saw the first quarter last night and you understand you're adding Scotty and Jakob to that mix and they get even better? So that's just the way I look at it right there. Yeah. Cowboys saying, I believe he will, Smooth. That Zach will be a top 10 pick. Maybe. We'll have to see. MSJ saying, Trevor, I know OG is way better, but we have Barnes at the same position to get IQ as a steal. Yeah. Yeah. In some ways, Barnes is the more apropos comparison to OG in some ways, but Oshai is a different kind of very top level defender. And in some ways, he could be kind of counted as a long arm monster for us currently. Yeah. Smooth saying at Cowboy, for him to go from late first round to lottery pick, nothing short of remarkable progression. Yeah, I heard the mock draft I looked at like a week ago. He was like 19th or something. No, he's like 13th or something in the draft. He wasn't super high. He wasn't in the top 10 at that point. Maybe it's going to change because of tonight. We'll have to see. Shir Khan's here. Good to see Shir Khan. Shir Khan tearing it up in Raptors Tonight chat last night. Always asking the best questions. Raptor Freak, Rookie of the Year last year. Shir Khan is a badass, and we appreciate his presence here this morning. Good morning, Raptor Freak family. Did anyone watch the post game with IQ and Darko? Gonna ask the same question that Raps Tonight didn't really get to. What do we think about IQ gonna become after working with coaches this summer? This is fun, and it's too bad they ignored this question on the broadcast last night. Those guys were talking a lot of really deep stuff and heavy stuff last night. In some ways, they were talking about whether they felt like the game was good or not at this point compared to the women's game. And some of the panelists were like saying, yeah, the men's game is in a really bad place compared to the women's game. And I have to agree with that side. I know Sherman was saying, no, there's nothing wrong with the men's side. I was like, I don't know, Sherman. I don't know, buddy. I think that your question is great because I think we could apply this in general to all the Raptors. We had a great summer of development for Scotty last year that really paid off. And if Darko has any kind of influence in helping guys develop in accelerated ways on the offseason, well, we could see it. I mean, I would want to see stuff like with Grady, even RJ. I don't know. It seems like RJ's a more complete player than most of the guys on the team, but there are always wrinkles and different things you can add. If we can think about DeMar DeRozan and the way he played for the Raptors year in and year out, he come back with a new trick every year. And in some ways, RJ could be that kind of player where it's kind of like he tries to develop another facet to his game in the offseason, just like when DeMar came back with a better three-point shot. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. IQ is very interesting because of like the proclivities for triple doubles that we were talking about earlier. I don't know. In some ways, the developing of IQ, it's not like a normal kind of developing. It's like a mental and how you look at the game kind of developing. But in some ways, he's already advanced at that. Like I said, he's fundamentally so good. In some ways, maybe it's like figuring out ways that we can get new spots for him. Maybe he's going to try and increase his range. Maybe he starts shooting a lot of half-court shots. And maybe he's going to try and be more like Fred and Steph Curry and be like more deadly from even further out. I could see that as being part of what they could increase with IQ is making him more deadly from further out in range. And then, the other stuff that he could work on probably is finishing in the lane with certain ways and just knowledge and some of the stuff that RJ does. I don't know. IQ's game is really solid already. In some ways, it's about reading the court and the situations and making the right reactions and choices in those situations and learning and becoming more learned over years of NBA experience. That is the stuff that will get IQ better and better over time. Sure, Khan. So I think it's actually playing. In some ways, yeah, he can't go wrong. Whatever he's been doing with his life and off seasons and training himself to get this point as a basketball player, he can continue to do it because it's working. He's very fundamentally right. Very, very fundamentally right. Yeah. G saying, seems like Gary is on a mission. Oh, yeah. I think that this is symbolic of them coming together and talking about it and resetting themselves. I think that really after this 15-game losing streak just ended, the Raptors were like, you know what? We are the team and we're together and we're going to do this a certain way. It may be that RJ and IQ with Scotty also as a leader kind of said, look, we're the Raptors. We're going to have Raptor pride. We're going to do this the right way for the rest of the season. We're going to be professionals. We're going to do everything right. And Gary listened to them. He's like, you know what? I'm coming up too. I'm coming in there with that same kind of gumption. I'm gonna bring in my all. If my Duke Blue Devil brother RJ Barrett is coming out there and giving his all on the court, he's a leader to me. I want to do the same thing as him. In some ways, that is part of it. Is the leadership of RJ and the way he plays could rub off on Gary, and he gets out there and he gets after it a little bit sooner in the game. Maybe not so lackadaisical to allow the game to just come to him, but maybe forcing himself into the game a little bit more by going and doing it, by getting a steal and a layup and then hitting a three and things like that. So, yeah, Gary is on a mission, but I think it's the overall company mission of the Raptors nucleus at this point to have a new era and a new way of approaching things. It really was like a switch happened. And these guys have a very different level of how they're approaching things right now, it seems. Kareem saying Klingon is ranked number 2 in centers for his upcoming draft. Edie is ranked, I think, 5th. Shaquille O'Neal will change that tonight, though. 7'2" versus 7'4". This is going to be crazy. Yeah. Are they playing each other? Is it UConn versus him? Is it going to be UConn versus? I don't even know who's playing against them. I think it is UConn. Yeah. Okay. So that'll be a head-to-head match. We'll get to see who is better. I put my money on our Canadian guy all day long. In some ways, the ESPN media machine is trying to push the American guy over the Canadian guy. And I'll bet you that's part of their whole push because they're putting Klingon all over the ESPN website. In some ways, I'm like, oh, this is gross. Why are you putting him on there? Put Zach on there, my man. But no. In some ways, they want to promote the U.S. star. Well, let's see who wins. USA versus Canada, national championship. Klingon versus Edie. Yeah, we're going to see who's better tonight. That's right. Infamous saying, salute, freaks. I'm indifferent about Gary. It just seems like he's doing this to get a contract. See, in some ways I can say this is true, but that makes sense, obviously. I mean, he's trying to make money, and he's got to play. And in some ways you're like, yeah, why wasn't he playing like this all season? Well, there's a lot of mysteries with Gary. Plantar fasciitis is probably a big reason with it. And there may be other things that happened this season that we don't know anything about that we're kind of weighing him down. Either way, Gary, even if it's too little, too late, I don't think it's too little. I think it's just right. And if we're winning and there's something, I'm with you, Infamous. I'm very 50-50 on Gary Trent Jr.'s future with the Raptors. I'm very, very 50-50. Now, talking about old Raptors, well, did you see old Chris Boucher sitting at the end of the bench wearing his Drake NBA champion Toronto Raptors 2019 championship jacket? That jacket is fire. And we know Danny Green gave his jacket to Scotty. He actually has Danny Green's jacket himself. It's so weird. I don't understand why Danny Green gave his championship jacket to Scotty. I mean, I like that he did it. In some ways, I know you're a mercenary, Danny Green, and you're kind of full of shit, and you just collect a bunch of championships. He's a championship piece, by the way, as evidenced. I mean, very much. He's won championships. But, yeah, that jacket is fire. And in some ways, that was symbolic in a way of Chris wearing the old champions jacket. And in some ways, he can sit at the bench as a 2-time NBA champion and talk about being a champion in that championship year with the Raptors. In some ways, I very much value that. If Chris Boucher turns into our Udonis Haslem, I would be so happy, Masai. Could you make this happen? Could we get Chris Boucher to be our Udonis Haslem? And he can just be this presence around the bench in a certain way as a leader and a connection to our championship year. If we're going to send all these guys away that were champions except for Chris, and he can be the old wise champion on our team that's going to tell the tales of Kawhi and things like that, I think this would be smart. I would love to see Boucher become a Haslam for the Raptors franchise. So think about that, MLSE. If this can happen in any kind of way, I don't know if Darko values him. He may be on his way out. I don't know. But in some ways, I'd love the idea of a Chris Boucher, Udonis Haslem role on our team. If that can work somehow, some way, Masai, do it is what I'm saying. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Where are we in the chat? We're right here. Monique, good morning, Raptor Freak family. Wonderful vibes last night. IQ is my point guard, man. Thank you, Mo, for going to the game. I wasn't sure if you were at the game or not. I know we saw you for a second in the chat, but it was an early game. So you probably had a very hectic day getting ready and getting down there. Thank you for going down there with the vibes, Monique. And yeah, what a great game. You're saying it was one of the easiest wins in our life. And I'm like, no. Nothing's easy this season. This may be an easy win considering the season and how things have gone. Yeah, I'll say that. But man, no, even when like we went stagnant and we couldn't score for like a half a quarter, that was scary. Because in some ways, I don't want to write no headline where it's like the Raptors were up 42-13 in the first quarter, and then they lost the game by the end of it. No. I was a little panicking, a little weird when the Raptors couldn't score all of a sudden and the Wizards were coming back. Yeah, they were using a lot of physicality and they were trying really hard all of a sudden. They didn't try at the beginning of the game, the Wizards. They tried really hard in the second quarter and they made up a big part of the deficit. And it was a game after that. So in some ways, Cali's stress meter was a little stressful at times just because we don't want to drop the ball on a game that we should win for sure. And we don't want to show failure by fumbling it, is what I'm saying. So I was a little worried about that for a little bit last night, but overall, really good job by everybody at the game last night. Yeah, it was awesome. Cool Cat saying, good morning, Rapid Free crew. Barrett and quickly brought their Knicks gritty upon their return personal leave. Yeah, I mean, this is really an underrated statement that people need to realize. I mean, all right, we were talking about yesterday, Sam Mitchell being on NBA radio saying that the Raptors have no players on their team other than Scotty Barnes. Absolute horse shit. Smitch. You are disrespecting RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly. Every single person in the NBA media on the state side and ESPN, TNT, whoever starts echoing this shit, the Raptors would be great, but they only got Scotty Barnes and he has no help. That's just why you are fucking full of shit. And you're trying to shape a perception that's just not true. RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly are stars and they're ready to stand next to Scotty and be very powerful besides him. Y'all, everybody who's going around trying to say the Raptors ain't got nobody but Scotty, you are lying to the public. And RJ Barrett is somebody. And he's going to remind you when he comes to your city. That's what I'm going to say right there. Yeah. Kareem saying, should we offer Doc Rivers the 905 job? I mean, I don't think he would take it. That's not his pay scale. It'd be interesting. I mean, he wouldn't. I don't know how would he be better than Eric? I don't know. I don't even know if he'd be better than Eric Curry. I don't even know. I don't know. I know this is a joke. This is a joke. This is too cheap a joke. You get so many dunks. I'm not giving you a dunk for this. Fiercely saying, Darko, thank you for your allegiance and dedication to coaching and developing. That's what I'm saying. We want to collect real ones. And whether they're real ones from this community or they're real ones that just exhibit very loyal kind of like you gave me the opportunity. You put the chance on me. I'm going to pay you back. Darko's so proud to be the Raptors head coach. Some ways he's been wanting this opportunity for so long and we were the ones who gave it to him. In some ways he's pinching himself because he has a great ownership and front office that is looking out for him. So he got a really good cushy spot in some ways. Some people would argue with me and say, yeah, the Raptors is not a good job. No, that's bullshit. This is a very high class, very top level sports team in the world of sports. And honestly, in some ways, I'm telling you, us saying we want you, Darko, to be our coach, that he's a real one. For the rest of his life, he's going to be Raptors in his heart. He may be more like that than Nick Nurse was in the end. Seriously, he's not going to turn on us. He's not going to fuck us over like Nick did. It's just not in his character. In some ways, when they were interviewing so many coaches last summer, they probably were kind of trying to detect this. Well, we don't want a snake like Nick again. We think about how dedicated this guy will be. Well, he's not from the States. He's from Serbia. Okay, well, then maybe he won't have any kind of weird thing where he's like, I need to be back in the States for some reason. You know, there's a lot of thought put into why we hired Darko. And honestly, they said when they hired him, he checked all the boxes. He's still checking all the boxes as far as I can see right now. And he's a real one, just like Scott. Scott's another one. I can tell. I'm not really worried about Scotty's loyalty to the Raptors in a way that I would with Bosch and Carter in the past. I feel like Scotty is really, really like he is Raptors. Like he is all about it and he gets it. He totally gets this. I mean, his allegiance to Florida State, and he only played at Florida State for 1 year, is very super strong. He's a super loyal guy. In some ways, his friendship with Lloyd is a testament to this. That, you know, it's not like he's discarding people. He's very loyal and he has his people. And well, the Raptors are his team. He was drafted and he's been made the franchise face. In some ways, he doesn't take that lightly. In some ways, he has gratitude about that. And I also love the fact that Emmanuel is so religious. In some ways, listen, you youngsters, you may get me in some ways that nobody's ever got me in my life. Emmanuel Quickly, you might be the person that gets me to go to church. I'm not lying. I'm serious. I'm very strongly considering this because see, I'm starting to see the power of Jesus and Christ in the lives of our young Raptors. And I know that a lot of you guys that watch me every day already have it. And in some ways, I'm wondering about myself. I may find Jesus through Emmanuel quickly. I'm not lying. I'm serious. When I move out to the country, I might have to start going to church on Sundays. And it'll be the influence of our point guard that did it. I'm not lying. Scotty too. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I testify every morning on this channel, but I may need to go down to the church and see what that's all about soon. I mean, I don't know why I'm crying, but it's emotional. Seriously. I see that power that they getting from this and how it guides their life. And maybe I need that direction. Yeah, maybe I need that direction. All right, let's keep going. All right. Thank you, Darko, for your allegiance and your media savvy. Yeah, he was awesome. He's been on point, and I love that he dealt with that question the way he did, in opposite of what Nick did last year. Really, really good. Fierce is saying, Lex, the professionalism started after OG's and Pascal's trades. The new pieces are more dedicated and have sound fundamentals, except for Bruce Brown. Yeah, Bruce came in. It really was a huge drop off between the starters and the bench last night. It was sad because in some ways those bench guys, they really dropped the ball. They annoyed me. JFL, Bruce Brown, Jalen McDaniels, that shit pissed me off. In fact, Darko failed with the rotation, the first rotation. He admitted after the game, in the post game, he's like, yeah, the first rotation wasn't good, and he adjusted it in the second half. He actually put Garrett in the rotation in the second half, and that was much better. Another thing he did was he went small ball at a certain point late in the game, which is a really good change. Instead of having Jalen McDaniels out there and Malik Williams, he went with like a smaller lineup with Garrett kind of playing center, and that was way more effective than playing Malik Williams and Jalen McDaniels. We didn't even see Jordan Wara out there at all in the game last night. He must have done something in the game before that Darko didn't like, and he just gave him a DMP. But that was another thing I have to give credit to Darko, is that he realized his rotations were not exactly right, and they were messed up by that stagnant part. And he adjusted his rotations in a way during the game that helped us in the second half. That stubborn coach might try and push it through and do it again and fail just all over again. No, he learned his lesson right away, and he didn't let them have another chance out there with that particular lineup, because that lineup was awful. Oh my gosh, they're going to lose that game for us. The bench for us last night. They were really, really bad. Yeah, really, really bad. All right, let's keep going. Cool Cat saying Bruce Brown was part of that too. I was like, when did Bruce Brown come in? Oh, everything went to shit just after he came in. I mean, we didn't even see him that much in the second half, did we? Cool Cat saying, I'm going to skip out this session because I don't want to feel like this is an indictment on OG Pascal that wanted to be here. Now, I understand, and you may think that what I'm saying is critical of them, but what I'm saying is, listen, those guys wanted to be here. I think Pascal did, but I don't think OG did. I don't think OG did. And listen, I'm not trying to put them down. I'm just trying to say, and I know that it may bug you that I'm saying that RJ has more fire and more like Michael Jordan in him than Pascal did, but that's just the damn truth, Cool Cat. I'm sorry. In some ways, it has to do with the way they were raised. RJ Barrett had a brother that was coming up underneath him, and he had friends, and he was super competitive. You play Uno with RJ Barrett, he was trying to beat you in Uno. You play Skip-Bo, he's trying to beat you in Skip-Bo. He's trying to beat you in whatever it was. Tiddlywinks. He's exactly like Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan would make anything into contest or bet some money on. I'm going to throw this in the trash can. Oh, I made it. You owe me $100. That's the thing. Pascal did not have dreams of being the NBA when he was a young child. He did not shape a competitive mind in that kind of way when he was over in Cameroon. And he came to the game so late. I worry about him having a certain kind of fire competition that is developed in young people sometimes when they play team sports when they're very young and stuff. That was the difference in some ways that I'm hinting at. In some ways, it's not that Siakam isn't a good player. He's absolutely a top-level player in this NBA, and he's done all that kind of stuff to prove it. It's just in some ways what you either have what I'm talking about or you don't. And I would say right now, it's not an indictment of Pascal. It's an indictment of overall the NBA. That the exception is RJ. There's not very many guys who have that fire in that kind of way of competitiveness like RJ at this point in the league. A lot of these guys get the money, the bag, and they're lazy, and they just don't give a shit. And I'm not saying Siakam's one of those guys. He works very, very hard. I'm just saying to have that kind of Jordan competitiveness, that Kobe competitiveness, is rare. And in some ways, I am so happy to have it on our team with RJ. That in some ways, RJ's leadership in this can help develop Scotty to be more like that in the future. And that's what I'm saying. OG, listen, OG checked out last year, obviously. And this year he came back and he went through the motions and played for us. And I appreciate OG. He'll always have a soft spot in my heart. But there was a problem with how they played at the beginning of the season. There's no denying this. Seriously. They were not winning correctly. And something was weird. And if it was any kind of what was lingering from last year that was weird still, well, I'm just glad it's gone at this point. And it's not that I'm upset that these guys are gone. I love these people as people. I love these guys for their contributions to Raptors history. You know, I don't mistake this. I'm not trying to bash them. I'm just saying it's different. The feelings around this team are very different than opening night at the beginning of the season to right now. And in some ways, we reoriented ourselves with different leaders at the top. We're getting different outcomes with what the competitiveness and the drive is. And you can take that as a diss of those guys, but it's just the damn truth, Cool Cat. It is just the damn truth. I love Pascal, and I want him to win a championship with the Pacers this year. So don't take this as being me indicting these guys or coming down on them. I'm just trying to make a distinction and show the difference. That's all I'm saying. Chris is saying, I fully agree, Lex. Darko has shown maturity, signs of a great coach. Can't say the same about other coaches we have had. And the same way, I'm glad some of the ex-Raptors are gone. You know, this is the thing. The other thing about the Jalen McDaniels question that was awesome was he had every opportunity to throw Jalen under the bus, and he didn't. Nick in the past would have thrown Jalen McDaniels under the bus in that opportunity. The question was presented to him. No, he protected his player, and he actually talked him up. He said, I really like Jalen. I think he's a great player, and I think he has promise for next year. We're going to work with him this summer, and hopefully he's going to come back. If Josh Lewenberg was fishing for some sort of little thing, a blurb for him to write an article about how the front office is failing on Jalen McDaniels, Darko didn't give him that ammunition. He said, no, I'm really happy with Jalen and what he did this year. Sure, he could have done a little better, but listen, we still have promise for the future with him. He could have thrown him under the bus like Nick would have Gary Trent Jr. 2 years ago. That's what I'm saying. In some ways, that's something right there. He's media savvy for sure, and he ain't about throwing his players on the bus. Infamous is saying, I'm very proud as a Raptors fan. Look at everything that happened this season. Losses, scandals, deaths, injury, trades, and they all seem bonded. That's a testament to management and the coaching staff. Yeah, we can go through this process and craft this team one way or another. You know, we love you, Jonte. We wish you'd play, but no, you had a scandal. Now we got to make what we can. The blood clots. We wish Koloko was still on his team. We got to make what we can. You know, the deals, the things that we wish it had worked out with Siakam. He could be here long term. We wish it had worked out with Dennis Schroeder. We wish it had worked out with certain different players, but it just didn't. And we switched and we changed. And like Darko said in his interview yesterday, the front office did a really good job of having guys on this team at this point that really want to be here, are dedicated to making the Toronto Raptors better going into the future. And that's what we want to hear right there. That's right. Kareem saying, Lex, lately you've given my dunks a radio station number. For my next dunk, can you do a country radio station and give us a snippet of your favorite country song? All right. And I'll do it right now because this is a silly comment and it's great. So we'll do this. All right. Where's Kareem? And we'll figure out what the number on the dial is here. Okay. All right. Let me see. All right. Let me figure this out. All right, I want to think about how it's this. Okay, here we go. All right, let me do this right.
You're listening to Country Outlaw 108.5, and we got a next block of Johnny Cash for the next hour. Here we go, y'all. Let's walk the line. Because you're mine. I walk the line. Outlaw Radio. Yeah, come on back now. We got more outlaw country for you. All the great old hits. Waylon, Willie, and Johnny. 2 hours every day. You ain't going to hear no Toby Keith here now. Outlaw Radio 108.5.
Is that Neon Moon enough for you? All right, let's go. All right, Fiercey saying, oh no, Cool Cat. Well, I'm not saying Pascal and OG fundamentals were not sound. They were amazing for us. Lex won't agree with me, but Malachi and Precious did not help in terms of professionalism. Yeah, I'll say Malachi. Yeah, Precious. I mean, he meant well. He's just a very raw talent, and he has his ups and downs. As I evidenced earlier when I looked at their box score with Precious, what he did last night for the Knicks. Yeah, he got an offer and a 5-minute yank from the game right away. He must have done something Tibbs didn't like. So they took him out. So the same issues with Precious and Toronto are still in New York, just so y'all know. Yeah. I mean, listen, when I talk about the old cast, Siakam is like, he's growth. It's not like I'm trying to diss him or put him down. I'm just saying the old cast was different. You know, David Thorpe said, oh, I would get rid of Nick, Fred, and OG right now. Well, it sounds like he was right, and I hate to say it. I just don't like him being a shit disturber at that time because I felt like things were all right. I don't like people just gossiping or saying things about the Raptors with no merit. Well, he was kind of right, and we probably should have listened to him at that time. But it all worked out in the way it did, and we're at this point now. I wish we could have the spicy barbecue. Seriously, I think the spicy barbecue was the best addition, but the money won't allow for this in the future, and tough decisions had to be made. I wish all the best to Siakam. I'm not a Siakam hater. I'm just saying our team is different now. That's all. Fiercely saying I have both OG and Pascal jerseys. Yeah, heart. Yeah, we love Siakam. I want him to win. I don't want him to win tomorrow, though. I want to get Darko dinner. Let's beat the Pacers and win the season series, is what I'm saying right now. Yeah, I want to get Darko dinner. Let's see. Smooth saying at Fiercey, OG checked out on the team. He mentally was gone. Pascal actually wanted to stay. In my opinion, Masai wanted to give the extension, but Ed Rogers stopped it from happening. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the full story with Siakam. You know, in some ways, also, I'll say this. Siakam not playing for us anymore has given us more space on the floor for the puzzle pieces of our guys to work and interlock. That in some ways, the building of the roster after Siakam and Anunoby is really got an intricate, like clockwork kind of fitting, you know, like how the gears and the clock and everything kind of goes all together. Well, I feel like the fit of our team is so much better at this point that some of the criticisms last year, some people saying that it's all blocked up, it's too clogged, it was true. And that in some ways we're feeling the flow of the offense a lot more smoother by having a better balance of shooters with the slashers and the paint touchers. And in some ways, Siakam, he has to have a whole certain kind of bag to do what he does in the right level and the right efficiency. And in some ways, it takes away from, you know, somebody like RJ coming in and doing what he does. Now, RJ fits with IQ really well. I think they both fit with Scotty really well. And Kelly fits really well in that picture. Grady and Gary fit really well in that picture too. It's the big picture and what it looks like. And in some ways, Siakam was a great piece for the championship team and times after it. But at this point, it just doesn't make sense for the system that we're making and what we're trying to do. And I think that's a big part of it right there. MSJ saying Rockets are out of the playoffs. Fred played at his career averages, but no one can tell me he is better for us than IQ. As for the Eclipse, I have the GOAT ready for the Edie pick. Nervous Boz at the moment. Oh, my gosh. Well. Oh, my gosh. I'm talking about going to Christ, and this guy's got a GOAT ready for the Eclipse. Yikes, Chris. All right, I'm going to give you a dunk for silliness. This is pretty funny, honestly. 53, you got the James Edwards 53, Detroit Bad Boys. There you go. You got James Edwards 53. Yeah, if you can help us get that pick, I mean, can you do it in a Christ way like Emmanuel would want you to and not in like some weird, like, I don't know. Now, this is sad to hear. Is that true that the Rockets have been eliminated from the play-in tournament? I know they had that great run coming up to try and jump into the play-in and knock out the Warriors or the Lakers. But obviously, that's not something that the NBA wants. They want both those teams in the postseason, Steph Curry and LeBron James. So they hurt the Rockets and they've been eliminated. They did not make it. They have lost 5 straight. That's part of it. I'll bet you there was a little bit of ref hit jobs on them. It was Ben Taylor reffing any of these games, the last 5 games for the Rockets. I'm just saying. I know MA really wanted to get there. And they helped prop up the Lakers for sure with refereeing recently. And I would probably suspect that the Warriors got some help recently too, because some of this is Adam Silver script writing and Draymond Green, Steph Curry, LeBron James and them, that's who they want in the postseason. They don't necessarily want Fred and Jalen Green and Sengun and Ime Udoka there. No, they don't. And well, maybe the invisible hand of the NBA pushed the Rockets down a little bit when they went on that win streak. Now they're on a 5-game losing streak. And maybe they helped up the teams in the Pacific Division. Yeah, that's what I think happened right there. It's too bad. Good job, Freddie. You really did breathe new life into the Rockets culture. And this year's been a huge success this year for you, even though you guys got eliminated from the playoffs. I'm proud of you, Fred VanVleet. You are GROAT. And your effect on the Rockets franchise, you've been worth every penny of your $43 million this year. If you ask me from the outside, I know Rockets fans will debate that, but a lot of them do agree with me, I'll bet. Yeah. Invis saying Jordan Poole has the worst shot selection I've ever seen from a player. Dude has no awareness, would hate to play with him. Well, this is a really good example of what I was trying to say earlier, that the Raptors are a smarter, more fundamentally better team than the Wizards. And Jordan Poole being a number one option and leader of that team with such bad fundamentals is the epitome of what I'm trying to talk about. RJ has such good fundamentals himself, but Jordan has shitty fundamentals. Well, it's a leadership thing. And that's part of the reason why their team is so unprofessional and not very good, is because they have one of their main guys. Kyle Kuzma is the same way. He's not very fundamentally good too. He's very super skilled offensively, but he does a lot of dumb stuff out there that's extra that he doesn't need to do. That's not fundamentally good. So that's what I'm saying. If your leaders are fundamentally good, like IQ, RJ, and Scotty, well, you got a good team. You got fundamentally well-led team. And Jordan Poole's not a good fundamental player. That's why I never liked him. That's why I would never want him on my team, because of what Infamous just said. He has really poor shot selection. He does really dumb dribbles. He falls on the floor for inexplicable reasons all of a sudden. I have no idea why he does that. Chris is saying at Kareem Thomas, yes, the VC jersey is going up. No needed to complain now. It's done deal. It's not a done deal, Chris. That's not a done deal. That's bullshit. Tracy McGrady only said that on there he thinks he's put the politicking for it. The debate is still open. Trust me. There's a lot of people that feel like me still. And if Masai and Bobby and MLSC are smart, they'll listen to us also, not just the Vince Carter lovers. So, yeah, no need to complain now. Well, it's not done deal, Chris. You didn't decide this shit. So get off your high horse. Seriously. The Raptors need historic lore as a team. Those dunks are it. Yeah, I'm not going to get behind this. I still won't get behind this. I'm going to say I draw the line. And like I said, if his jersey does go up in the rafters, I'll ignore it, honestly. I'll figure out how to deal with it since I can't control it completely. But no, don't come in here and advertise that this shit is already a done deal, because it is not. Trust me. It is not a done deal. They have not officially announced jack shit about retiring Vince Carter's 15. And until they do, I'm going to fight against it. And if they do it, well, I'll have to accept it. That's how life is. You got to accept life on life's terms. I know I can't control this solely myself. But as a very vocal Raptors fan with a channel that people watch every morning, I'm going to continue to not be endorsing it. Once again, I think it's very fair. If he gets a statue, that's an even more impressive thing. And that's what I propose. So, Smooth saying, John Concac. That's right. Oh, my God, Count Dracula. Does he look like Count Dracula? A little bit. Yeah, his pose is kind of like, Ivan to suck your blood. Who said he's going after? That's Anthony Avent of the Milwaukee Bucks, 00. I want to suck your blood. Count Floyd, very scary. Yeah, rest in peace. Joe Flaherty. Man, I was so sad last week when I heard that Count Floyd had passed away. SCTV legend, great character actor, great, amazing TV and movie star, Joe Flaherty of SCTV. Man, we miss you. Count Floyd is one of my favorite characters. I do impressions of him all the time, Joe. I love you. And I was so sad to hear that you passed away last year. Yeah. Yeah, that was sad. Yeah, Smooth got it. He got it, Mike. That's right. Smooth got it. That's right. He got it. 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 Yeah. Where did it go? I jumped ahead. I'll make sure. Where's Logical Raptors Fanatic? He's the one that I was on the last comment. Ooh, you guys are filling it up today. Y'all give me a cutoff, please. Because yeah, it's an eclipse coming up. We don't want to be still talking then. Kareem saying, yo, Smooth is like the encyclopedia of the NBA. Either that or he has some crazy face recognition app on his phone. Either way, you're the GOAT. Listen, I mean, I'm from back then. I would have gotten this. That's the thing. I would compete with Smooth if I was involved in this, because I can get a lot of these cards myself. But I can't, because I'm hosting the show. But yeah, I'm impressed with Smooth. In fact, it's pretty cool. There you go. There's more on him. He's from Southern Methodist University. No TOs. What does that mean? No turnovers? He didn't have a single turnover that year. I find that hard to believe. I find that very, very hard to believe. 7 foot, 250 pounds. Yeah, his birthday's coming up, May the 1st, 1963. John Contract. Yeah, John Contract. That's what they used to call him. Yeah. Yeah. Logical saying, or Smooth saying, I'm a 90s nerd, man. He's a nerd on all things 90s. All right, Smooth, you can get a dunk for that, for being a 90s nerd. You are at an 8. You are on an 8. Number 8 dunk. I like it. I forget who 8 is. Who's number 8? Let's see. Mike saying, SMU guy that got paid by that coach that was involved with the Baylor murder thing. Yeah, controversy. Yeah. Fiercely saying, one thing I will say about OG, he seems to have wanted more offensive touches, but he's very limited in the schemes, mostly used for his defensive prowess and corner threes. Yeah, I didn't actually believe that whole sentiment that he wanted an expanded role. I think he was fine with his role and what he was doing. I think that was just people from the outside like Jake Fisher trying to pick something apart and make it seem like OG was uncomfortable or unhappy here. Well, I don't know if he was exactly unhappy. He may have had designs on wanting to go to York because of his new agency. But in some ways, yeah, he was on his way out in different ways. And I have no idea exactly why. Maybe it was partly because he started seeing all of his old teammates who were on the team before less and less on the team. Like Serge and Mark were gone, and then Kyle, Norman, it's Fred. Oh my gosh, Fred is gone now. Yeah, I should probably go too. That could have been part of it. That they knew that the transitioning from the old period to the new period with Scotty in charge was changing. And in some ways, last year, Scotty and OG were both saying we both want to be the best defensive player on this team. Well, something's got to give. Something's got to give, and that's what happened there. Yeah. Kareem saying when Quickly got poked in the eye earlier in the game, I could have only thought that Jonte told him about the under in his parlay. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to make any dunks for Jonte jokes, honestly. I really am not, because honestly, he's persona non grata. They're taking him off all over the place. They don't want him in the intros in the beginning. They won't talk about him on Raptors Tonight. Like, they don't mention Jonte Porter at all. In some ways, he's persona non grata. And he is just not a part of, let's not talk about him around the Raptors, because we just do not need to be associating him with anybody right now on the Raptors. That's right. No. Fiercely, it was always my take that OG and Precious just don't have the handles to be good offensive players in space and creative with it. That's Chris saying that. I mean, I could get behind that to a degree. There are different problems with the two of them, though. They're not exactly the same. OG is very plotting. In some ways, OG wasn't very good at dribbling with his head up. Did you notice that? Like, when he dribbled, he's looked down or kind of like this. And that's not very good in some ways. The other thing is he had a proclivity to kind of hit his foot sometimes. His footwork wasn't always right with his dribble. And he could be agitated too. Precious was better, actually, than OG on slashing and dribbling. A lot of people will say, no, wait a second. No, but it is true. OG was more likely to turn the ball over if he tried to drive the basket than Precious was. Precious was very good at driving and finishing. So I don't totally agree with lumping Precious in on this one. I think that OG, yeah, you're indicted him, and that's true. But Precious had good enough handles and good enough stuff to do it. And I think that's part of where he's going to expand his game still and look really good in the future from. So Kareem saying, I noticed when Gary gets going, it becomes super infectious throughout our team. He's like COVID-24. Yikes. All right. I won't give a dunk for that either. That's just a bad memory. Come on, man. Why are you trying to make me feel bad? And so it was starting to get dark outside. Yeah, no, it's true. The infectiousness of a confident shot by Gary or Grady is very buoying and helping. Manuel, same thing. RJ goes in there, strong arms down low. Yeah, we start feeling confident, more confident. And I like that. I want Gary to be more confident with his shot. When he's feeling it and he's like jumping up and down and he's like yelling, that's the best Gary. Right there. That's the best Gary right there. Most saying stars of the game for me, IQ, Kelly, Gary, Grady, and RJ. Yeah. They've been the stars of the game the last 2 games. In fact, it's sad that nobody else is stepping up and taking those spots from them because the bench has not been as good. We've been very starter heavy recently, and it's been badass. Isaac saying OG actually took more shots as a Raptor this year than as a Knick. Yeah, I think that's true, especially in the game last night. Yeah, I agree with this. I mean, he was getting his opportunities. That was not the knock. The knock was it was just time to change the team. And that's it. It's not that we don't like Siakam or Anunoby. We love those guys. And those guys have a dear part of our history no matter what. It's just that the time was time to change clothes because it's a new time. And that's just how it has to be. G saying Kareem is on a roll today. He's okay. In some ways, I don't like him bringing up Jonte. He's persona non grata here, too. Kareem saying, my one star of yesterday's game was the grounds crew who kept the court dry. Jordan Poole isn't on Shaq and a Fool this week. Actually, he did have a Poole moment. He did have a Poole moment where he had a Shaq and a Poole moment. I saw it. And near the end of the game, he had a play that he really botched. So I'll totally disagree with this, but I'm going to give you a dunk for this one because it's kind of funny that you said that. But no, I saw him botch it. All right. 109 point. Okay, hang on. Let's see. All right, how do we want to do this one?
Welcome to Classical 109.5 FM. And we have 5-hour block of Handel, Bach, Beethoven, and Chopin coming up for you if you can stay awake. No commercials for 5 hours of classical music on 109.5 FM.
All right. Let's keep going. All right, let's see. Fiercely saying that smooth. Although sad to admit, you were right. He was in a different mindset. And yes, Chris, handles and basketball IQ definitely help in creating offense. Yeah. You guys are talking about OG. Yeah, I don't know. You can't put he. You got to put the name in there. Let's see. MSJ saying, I feel bad for Poole. He's a good player, and for Draymond to punch him was way offside. But okay, Poole is not a smart person. He's just a scorer. I think as slow learner, he might get it in time. Well, he shouldn't have shot his mouth off. In some ways, I know Draymond's a menace. He's an idiot. But for somebody to punch somebody in a practice, they did something wrong. Draymond wouldn't do that just out of the blue. I know he said some out-of-pocket shit, maybe a little cocky, and he needed to be knocked down a peg, literally, by his vet. And, I mean, listen, if Draymond was wrong, why isn't he off the Warriors? Poole was wrong in that situation. And you're going to try and say it was way offside. Yeah. But in some ways, that's the old NBA butting into the new NBA and saying, this kind of shit wouldn't fly in the days of Oakley. And Draymond's that kind of guy in some ways. He may be the only guy allowed to be in the 90s NBA in today's current NBA. Well, the old NBA would have punched a teammate out if he talked out of pocket like that, like he did. And that's what happened. I don't fault Draymond for that. In some ways, I fault Draymond for a lot on the court. But punching Jordan Poole in practice, even though it's wrong and it's violent and it's hurting someone, there's a reason why he did that. Let's just say that. Monique saying crowd was 50-50, but the noise was there, if you know what I mean. I was wondering how busy it would be. I asked Adriana about the game she went to last week on Easter for Philadelphia, and she said that it was very, very empty. The arena was not as full. It was a lot of people that left early because the game wasn't close, and it was just not the same kind of feel as earlier in the season a lot of the games we went to. Obviously, the losing has hurt ticket sales. And a lot of the people that, like I said earlier, are not the normal people that come to Raptors game right now, because a lot of the normal people aren't going, and people that want to go for the first time or novelty or getting their chance right now. Ticket prices have dipped, and there's a lot more newer fans or fans that just don't go to games very often that are going to games right now. Is definitely what's going on. Monique's one of the old real ones that is down there, though, holding it down still. Infamous saying, it's a shame that Caitlin is getting the attention when the South Carolina team went undefeated for the season. That's incredible. We should be celebrating them more. Yeah, I've been seeing people celebrating Dawn Staley today and stuff like that. But this is true. In some ways, she's overshadowed different people in different places. In some ways, this is really gross. It's weird because the women's college basketball spotlight that's coming on here is showing all the ugly things about people. Like whether it was a controversy last year with LSU and her Angel Reese, everybody's being very racist and around women's college basketball. It's crazy. Like these teams are going to places for tournaments in like Utah and different places, and they're getting the N-word yelled at them. And it's really ugly. And so we've got a two-sided thing here. We've got sexist and racist against the women's players in different places right now. And in some ways, Caitlin Clark is very like homeland white America, that they're going to try and get behind her and prop her up and push her up over people like the LSU Tigers and the South Carolina team too. That's disgusting. In some ways, sometimes, racism and sexism will rear its ugly head very open and honestly right in front of us. And a lot of the behavior and comments in social media spaces is a breeding ground for that kind of dumbass shit going on. There's a lot of unnecessary hate towards Angel Reese right now. There's a lot of unnecessary shading and different things to prop up Caitlin because they think they're helping her by putting other people down. Yeah, it's really messed up. And I'm glad Caitlin Clark has come out publicly denouncing the people that do this kind of stuff. But yeah, this is true. And some of this is just blatant racism. And some of this stuff that's happening currently is just blatant sexism also. That in some ways, some men are like, if we're going to have to watch the ladies, well, I'm going to be a total sexist pig. And I'm going to be a total racist pig too, in certain ways. Seriously. I love that they're breaking all these numbers for watching and stuff. It makes sense why that would happen. Everybody's like, well, why is the NCAA women's stuff getting more viewers than the men's? Why is it also getting more viewers than the World Series? Why is it getting more viewers than the Super Bowl? Well, come on, Winters. Are you dumb? You can't figure out why? It's because there's women that never watch sports that are watching it now because of this. I'm telling you, that's exactly what it is. Sports is predominantly watched by men. But if women's sports is getting on the rise, there are going to be more new viewers and they're going to be women. And that is why their numbers are going up, because a lot of the men are watching it too. But there's all of a sudden all these new viewers. They're watching it also. That is pumping the number up to watch this. In some ways, the people that want to make money look at this and they're like, whoa, look at this. This is an untapped market that's getting opened up because of women's college basketball. I hope this carries right on into the WNBA. And the WNBA sees a nice, huge growth spurt, just like the NBA did in the 80s on the backs of Johnson and Bird. That could happen with Clark and her counterpart, Reese, this coming up very soon in the WNBA. And they could be making a lot more money. And boom, all of a sudden, everybody you said all this shit is like WNBA doesn't make any money. Well, it does actually, motherfucker. Maybe you thought that 5 years ago, but you're not paying attention because you're a sexist. It's actually making money now, bitch, is what I would say to them. That's what I would say to them. So, yeah, very interesting stuff. South Carolina represent for sure. David saying Caitlin wasn't impressive at all yesterday. Almost selfish, to be honest. Well done, South Carolina. There you go. Bravo from David Saborin. Yes. Well, just real quick, since David's here, we have our final matchup in our Yahoo Fantasy finals. And David did not make it. But, David, you do get to play for third place. So you are playing for a bronze. So still got to beat Jason Dukes if you want to get a medal in our season. So you guys are playing for that bronze. But it will be in the finals. Peter Saborin versus HC in the finals. It'll be a fantastic matchup. Somebody's going to get this trophy behind me in this ring, in this little box behind me. Somebody's going to get this. Where is it? Let me get it. Yeah, this is the prize for the person who wins our Yahoo Fantasy League. You're going to get a little Larry O'Brien and a championship ring in a very nice case that you can display it in. So be ready for that, either HC or Peter Saborin. Yeah, you can keep that, Peter, if you win, and show it to David all the time. Like, put it on your finger and, like, watch the games with David and be like, yeah, look at my ring, David. Yeah, Peter. Peter going to do that maybe. We'll see. HC's got a good chance, too. Yeah, all right, let's keep going. Denal's saying, so instead of oh, shit, we're saying we're going to have the team saying oh, shy. Oh, shy, yeah. Oshyitis. I'm all about the new Oshyitis malady that we're talking about. Smooth saying at Infamous, I get that, but Caitlin is a generational talent. She's the real deal, man. Yeah, I believe in this too. I think that it's all good. In some ways, when you're picking sides, like between Bird and Magic, well, that's garnering interest. That's where people get all involved in the competition. Lakers versus Celtics, Magic versus Bird. They're going to be doing this season with Caitlin Clark versus different people. And they're going to try out the different matchups. It's kind of like what Wemby's doing right now in the NBA. Who's Wemby's foil? Is it Chet Holmgren? Is it somebody else that's already in the league? Could it be Scotty Barnes? We got to figure out who the best foil for these superstars is. Caitlin Clark's going to have a versus, an arch enemy, like Michael had Reggie Miller, stuff like that. That's what I'm saying. Denal saying, Smooth saying, I read that one. MSJ saying, truth is Clark has some very hard shots on Van Lyth. Iowa beat LSU, but on the back of shooting is so incredible, it was unlikely to happen again. Yeah, I didn't watch that closely, so I can't opine on this. Oh, shy, oh my. That's right. Tom Duke saying Raptor shy tea time. Shy tea time. So Tommy Dukey wants to start having tea time with Oh Shy. Okay, I'm all about that. Serving up the W's. All right, Tommy. Tommy's gonna get a W. Tommy's all about the tea, guys. I'm about it. I'm about it too. Maybe I'll go get a cup of tea and watch the eclipse real quick. 31, my guy. You got the Sean Marion 31. Tom Duke. That's right. Let's see. Smooth saying Caitlin is a Curry Bird type talent. Yeah, her shooting is very good. Chris is saying at Fiercey, laugh out loud, man. If that starts being said, I am dead. Okay, I don't even know what she said. Oh shy, oh my. Yeah, they're gonna say that. They're gonna say that. I think Matt Devlin's already said oh shy, oh my. Oh shy, oh my. Something like that on a block or something. Infamous is saying, Smooth, with all due respect, I've seen Cheryl Miller, Cheryl Swoops. Caitlin is good, but she is not touching any one of the two I just mentioned. This is a very interesting debate by Infamous. And I think I might side with Infamous. In some ways, Caitlin Clark is getting attention right now, maybe because the time is just right. But if the world had been right and ready for Cheryl Swoops or Cheryl Miller even before her, that would have been a different time. We can also bring up Cynthia Cooper. There's a couple of old WNBA players that were absolutely amazing, but there was no spotlight or attention on them. And that's what we need to keep into perspective. Now, in some ways, we say, well, she's the one who's transcending it and garnering the attention at this point. I think the world just wasn't ready for the eras of Cheryl Miller, Cheryl Swoops, and Cynthia Cooper. That those players were absolutely better players than Caitlin, but the world wasn't ready to put a spotlight and come with them. And that's part of it right there. Sue Bird's another one. Yeah. And by Bird, she doesn't mean Sue Bird. She means Larry Bird. Yeah. Sue Bird's another great, very good WNBA player with amazing career. Tom says, sorry, my Oshai joke was weak. I had to say something. Just love winning. No, you got to dunk, Tom. It was fine. It's fine. Have a great week, everyone. You too, Tommy. Have a great week doing whatever you're doing with your company, your family, whatever you got going. Watching the eclipse. Don't look at it straight, Tom. Infamous is saying, also, she's 0-2 in championships. She's a bit overrated. Yeah, I mean, listen, this is part of the debate. This is the kind of stuff that people love. Bird versus Magic. Caitlin Clark versus whoever her foil is going to be on the other side. And Infamous is sounding like a hater on the Clark side. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. Isaac saying dunk for Tom. No reason, just Tom. Yeah, all right. I gave him one, but I'll give him another one. Why not? We'll give Tommy another one. He's at the Magic Johnson 32. Speaking of Irvin. Yeah, let's see. Smooth saying at Infamous, I'm talking this generation's of female supermans. Yeah, okay. Well, he's just talking about right now. I mean, who knows? There may be a better player right now in the league. Aja Wilson's probably the best player in the WNBA right now. And I don't know. That size, how do you compare that against the shooting of Caitlin Clark? Who's more overpowering? Who's going to get more championships? Well, that's what you got to look at in some ways too. Jewel Lloyd. You're going to have to see Jewel Lloyd go up against Caitlin Clark too. She is absolutely probably the best scorer in the league in the WNBA currently right now. Jewel Lloyd of the Seattle Storm. So we're going to see. We're going to see how she matches up and what happens. In some ways, we can say Caitlin Clark's this, and this, and this. Well, until she shows up and she proves it on the court, then we'll see. But she probably is going to be very, very good. Let's put it that way. Tom's saying it went off my elbow, but it went in. Thanks, Isaac. I don't know how you did that shot. Are you on YouTube doing trick shots? Denal's saying she's not overrated. She just needs better teammates. Okay, that's a good point too. Chris is saying Clark can shoot the ball. The deep threes excite the casuals. She's a great guard, not the best ever. Okay, there's another take. Smooth saying, think about how Caitlin is blurring the lines, man. She has a standing offer from the big three, man. Like, wow. Yeah, that may be a publicity stunt by Ice Cube, though, to a degree, too. Infamous saying Caitlin's not better than Brianna Stewart, Aja Wilson, Kelsey Plum. We got to keep it real. The media is overhyping her. I can see Infamous's arguments. In some ways, I'm not going to believe anything until somebody transfers to the next level and they show us something. In some ways, the names that he just listed are the top names in there. Sabrina, the other one, too, Iescu. I'm just saying there's going to be different people that Caitlin's got to surpass before we just anoint her queen of the WNBA. In some ways, it's going to be on her team. She's going to have to win some championships. She's going to have to get some accolades. She's going to have to be an all-star. She's going to have to do different things, and then she can elevate her game. She's got to get the accomplishments first. G saying Clark can shoot, but her passes are underrated. Iowa's small. South Carolina is tall and deep. Their bench went like 37-0 versus the Iowa bench. There you go. Maybe South Carolina is a much deeper team. That may be a part of it right there. G saying Dawn is an amazing coach and human being. Yeah, I agree. I loved her as a player. She was a really awesome point guard. In some ways, she was very Allen Iverson. She had a lot of cool stuff in her bag as a player. Dawn Staley, very, very cool player to watch when she played. Yeah, Dap to David. Infamous saying Juju Watson as a freshman is on pace to be better than Caitlin. Caitlin is great, but the media is way overhyping a non-champion. Well, even if they are doing that, it's good for this sport. I mean, it's getting all the attention. If she's a hype train, if she doesn't totally deserve it, well, she's doing good things for the sport in general, and that's all that should matter right there. I agree with you. They probably are overhyping her. But in some ways, it's about that. Once again, they see money behind her. Well, they're going to push her. Smooth saying, Chris, not the best ever agreed, but a trailblazer, man. Blurring the line. For that, I'm Team Caitlin. Well, this is going to be fun. If we're going to do more WNBA content this summer, well, we may be revisiting this debate as time goes on, where Caitlin Clark is in the hierarchy of stars in the WNBA in her rookie season. Yeah, we'll check in on this for sure, especially when we get our team in Toronto. Yeah, we're going to need to be up on top of WNBA issues in that basketball world right there. Yeah. Let's see. Chris is saying the Clark Reese hype was so obviously an attempt to recreate the Bird Magic thing. Good for the WNBA. Fact is, Clark is white, Reese is black. Straight out of the hype playbook to excite casual fans. Yeah, I don't even know if that's really what the factor is. I mean, seriously, race isn't really the factor in this, Chris. Once again, I know that it is something that it can be mirrored from the Bird Magic relationship, but even that relationship, in some ways, yeah, sure, it was an underlying thing, but it wasn't really what it was all about. That's the thing. In some ways, it's very simple and kind of like doesn't do it justice. You say it was a white girl and a black girl. No, you don't want to do that. In some ways, it's about the competitors and stuff like that. Sure, there's a parallel between Johnson and Bird from before. But in some ways, to debase it to just that's just not doing it justice. Let's just put it that way. Quinn Captions saying, good morning, Lex and Raptor Freak family. Good morning to you, Quinn Captions. Quinceptions, sorry. Welcome. We do this every morning, 9:30 a.m. We are talking Raptors every single day. I'll be doing this in the off season. The season may end this Sunday against the Miami Heat, but on Monday, I will show right back up, do a reaction to that game. And then on Tuesday trivia. A week from tomorrow, we'll have a Raptor Freak Tuesday trivia. Wednesday, Wildcard Wednesday. Thursday, Think Tank. Friday, Freak Out. That's the off-season schedule. We never stop. I have a 1,000-day streak of doing a live stream every single day that I want to continue. Coming up, we'll get 1,000 very soon. So good to see you, Quinn. And thank you for being here. I hope I'll see you more often. Wayne saying Oshai and Wara are keepers. Bruce is useful but doesn't fit. McDaniel's contract should be waived. Gary should be on a performance-based contract with money and roster space. We're good for next season. Yeah, okay. Wayne's got his little list of what he thinks should happen. I'm not totally sold on Jordan Wara. The price has to be right. If the price is right, I'm all for it. But otherwise, I'm not totally sold on him. I'm sold on Oshai. That's fine. Bruce, I don't want to have anything to do with. We can let that $20 million come off the books and spend it more wisely than Bruce Brown. So I think that it's already figured out. In some ways, the way Bruce is playing in the rotation right now is kind of nodding to the future with him, that he's kind of on his way out. I think that this is true. McDaniels is going to get another shot. This is evident that he said it after the game last night. He expects McDaniels to come back and be a part of the rotation from improvement this summer. So, Wayne, you're not going to see Jalen leave or get waived because he's a project, and they're trying to get something out of him still. He's a reclamation project. And in some ways, you don't pay him hardly anything. You get him to come in, and all of a sudden he makes a leap. That's part of it. It's like Bobby and Masai look at a person like Jalen McDaniels, and they say the potential is so great. If we could just get that to click and unlock it a little bit, the value we would have him on that contract is amazing. So that's part of it right there. And we may need to remember me saying this today, next year, if Jalen McDaniels makes a big leap and all of a sudden his contract looks so good because of what he's doing on the court. So we'll have to see. I'm not done on McDaniels. I know you are, but Darko and I are not. And we'll have to see. Darko's already told us he's going to be on the team next year. Is basically what he said. He's under contract, and Darko values him. So I don't see him getting waived unless he plays so bad and he doesn't show any kind of development or any kind of strides this summer. If he shows back up and it's the same kind of place, then maybe he might not make the team and get waived in training camp. So Gary on a performance-based contract, I agree with that. I don't mind that at all. But we'll see if Rich Paul and Clutch are all about that. They want guaranteed shit. You know that. David's saying Wayne Strainer, the voice of reason. Adapt to him. All right. Yeah, we'll give Wayne a dunk because David values Wayne's perception here. 26 dunks for Wayne Strainer this year. Nice. Firebolt is here. Good to see Firebolt. Okay, so she's saying, sorry, that was Quinception's comment was me. I forgot my fiance was logged into my tablet. Oh, okay. I thought that was a new person. No problem, Carla. Hope everything's great in the Maritimes. Carla's the East Coaster, Atlantic Coast, Canada for us. Our representative on the Raptor Freak family in the East Coast nation. We got Tommy out in the West Coast in Victoria, British Columbia. We got Firebolt holding it down for us in the Maritimes. We appreciate you, Carla. We hope everything's going good for you. So much good stuff happening for you. Enjoy that eclipse today. Be careful. I wonder if it's running over you guys. Like, are you near the path over there? Like, I know it kind of goes towards y'all. I don't know if you're in the direct path exactly where you are. We're just a little north in Toronto of where the eclipse is going to go. I'm not going to Niagara to see it. No, I'll just sit here and watch this get dark outside all of a sudden. Like, I'm not even going to go outside. I value my eyesight. Invis saying, I agree with you, Lex, in regards to Vince. I enjoyed him as a player. However, when he came out and said he quit, that was something I never heard from a player. Vince left a lot on the table, shaking my head. Yeah, it's just really dumb move, man. It's arrogant and it's disrespectful. And like, honestly, like I said before, you're going to disrespect us like that and then come back with a smile and say, I didn't mean it, honey. I want to be your friend. I love you. I want to be on the rafters. I want to be up there. Please, please, honey. I didn't mean what I said. That's what I meant when I was talking about that yesterday. It's just kind of like, yeah, you did something wrong. And you're trying to get the good graces. You want to get a bouquet of 12 dozen roses and trying to make things nice again with us. I see what you're doing, Vince. I see what you're doing there. Yeah. Duke saying, congrats to Saborin and cutting it into NBA, our two finalists. Jason Duke, the champion from last year, did not make the finals, but got real close. And he has been eliminated, and he's being a very good champion and a very respected competitor and giving credit to the people that went to the finals. Jason, you're going to get a 3-pointer for good sportsmanship. There's not enough of this in the world today. There really, really isn't. We need more good sportsmanship. So Duke rocks. You're getting a 3-pointer for being a great champion this past year. First of all, this is your first one, man. You haven't got anything this year. You're an OG 3 for the year so far. Duke rocks. Our champion from last year. Well, he can still get the 3rd place trophy. He's got to beat David this week. So you can still get that bronze, Jason. You can still get that bronze. But thank you for being a gracious loser and congratulating the winners. Mischief saying, hey, Lex, would you consider signing 6'7" Grayson Allen? He's averaging 13.5 points and 30.5 rebounds, 3.3 assists, 47% from 3. He's the number 1 3-point shooter in the league. He's a free agent this 2024 free agency. It would be nice if we could have everyone average over 40% from 3 off the bench. Wow. This is interesting. Now, this is a tough one because my initial emotional reaction is no, I never want that dirty player on my team ever. But he's the kind of player when he's on your team, you love him. But when he's not, you hate him. And honestly, it's weird. His fit in Phoenix hasn't been totally right. I don't know. In some ways, I feel like he blurs over with Booker and Beal a little too much with the skill set. And that's part of the problem. I'm not against this. Honestly, I can understand the value of Grayson Allen. He's a very skilled 3-point shooter, and he is deadly. And I think in some ways he would make things really good. Now, is he too much? Like in some ways, if we get him, we're not going to bring back Gary. In some ways, it's like he takes Gary's spot. Would you rather have Grayson Allen or Gary Trent Jr.? Let's do it. Let's today's poll. We just found it just for fun. Who would you rather have? We'll see. We'll put that on there. Today's poll, we'll put in Gary Trent Jr. Today's flash poll and Grayson Allen. All right, let's see. Who would you rather have? on your team? There's the poll is going up, and let's see how you guys do it with this poll right here. Who would you rather have on our team next season? Because I think that's an interesting thought exercise that Mischief just brought up, and I'm not against this totally myself, because I honestly like Grace. I don't like Grayson Allen as a person, but I like his skills. His skills are nasty, and in some ways, he is exactly what Mischief's saying: a crazy good shooter that is dangerous in all kinds of ways. Man, what an interesting thought exercise, Mischief, you brought me today. James is saying, who's a better player in their prime, T-Mac or Carter? Wow, that's another really good question. Holy crap, you guys are asking good questions today. I'm going to say Tracy, and it's really because he led the league in scoring. There was years that he had in Orlando and Houston that were absolutely top level shit. You know, we talked about yesterday that Vince was compared to Kobe at a certain point, but that changed in the mid 2000s from Vince being compared to Kobe to Tracy being compared to Kobe. In some ways, Tracy McGrady reached his potential much better than Vince did, is what I'll say. At least individually as a player. Tracy McGrady for a while was absolutely the best scorer in the league. So I'm gonna say T-Mac, and that's not even just me hating on Vince. That's just the damn truth. You got to go back and see Tracy's some of his years in Orlando and some of the stuff he did with the Rockets even. That's why right there. So his better player in their prime, Tracy McGrady. And I'll bet you Vince wouldn't even argue that. Seriously. Duke saying, need to hit a bar tonight to watch the finals, UConn versus Purdue. All right, Jason, let's go see Zach win and get yourself a Boilermaker and drink it while you're watching. Chris is saying, I can't see Jalen doing much as his mind seems slow. Is it me? But he has a skill. It's so hard to really know. You know, I was wondering about Gary taking cannabis earlier this season. I wondered about that with Jalen. Honestly, I know because I smoked the hell out of some weed. And, you know, when I see the photos of them coming into the game, sometimes Jalen's eyes are so red and blurry and kind of like he's super high is what I'm saying. I know that this is not outlawed anymore, and these guys can do this. And we have no idea which players actually smoke before the games on game days. In some ways, I wouldn't do that. I don't smoke before I come on the stream. I have done it sometimes. I've done it while I'm on the stream. And in some ways, I know that I don't do my stream as well when I smoke right before it. I'm a little bit more not quick with my memory. And in some ways, that can hurt your thing. And I don't know what I'm saying is true in any kind of way. All I'm saying is I look at the pictures of them coming in the arena, and it looks like Jalen McDaniels has got red eyes, like he's been smoking some weed and shit. So I don't know. In some ways, it is a problem. It's not physical. It's not him and his what he can do with his body. The problem is something up here that's not connecting to get him to the next stuff and the next level of what is possible with him. And I don't know if he's dumb. I don't know if it's just that he's lazy. I don't know if it's what it is, but there's a potential there that if we can untap it, if Darko can figure out how to untap it, if anybody can, it would be Darko, I would hope. Then we'll have to see how it is. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Yeah. Chris is saying he should microdose on shrooms to open his mind to the game. I'm not going to disagree with Chris. That may sound ludicrous and crazy, but this is actually something that really helps people. Seriously, they'll see things that they may not see in a psychedelic mind. And then it all becomes clear. And they come back and they're like, oh my gosh, yeah, I can see things better because I had expanded my mind with psychedelics. This is the big thing for alcoholics. If you're having a problem with alcohol, you could take acid and all of a sudden your alcoholism, you kind of understand it better. And maybe you get sober because it will show you the truth sometimes. That is what tripping on acid or shrooms can do for you. It will show you things that you may not want to see, but it becomes more clear. And in some ways, it's like instant therapy without even talking to a shrink. All right, let's keep going. Wayne saying, did you just say Jalen has a magnificent body? He's skinny with no muscle tone, just length. That's all. He's not a rookie. Darko has to say that. Does he have more worth than Boucher? Jalen is a fail. Well, that's what Josh Lewinberg wants you to think. That's what a lot of people in this NBA think. This is the argument that Jack Armstrong was making. How long do you wait on the potential of a player, or do you give up on him? He actually was talking about Jalen that day. Listen, I think that Jalen McDaniels has a very long body that's very athletically, offensively skilled. There's some stuff he's shown in glimmers in the last 2 months that is absolutely very attractive and very, very much has a high potential. If you're not watching the games as close as me, If you don't see the possibilities of what he can do with elevating and shooting over people, what he can do as a slasher with his length and getting around people and flipping shots in, there's a lot of potential there. And I'm just saying, they're giving him a 2-year contract. Well, he's got one more year to try and get it figured out. I'm not saying he had a magnificent body. I don't think I used the word magnificent. What Darko said is he has a nice big body, is what he said. That he likes his length and his height to help with things. Now you're comparing him to Boucher. Well, they're different kind of player in some ways. I know they have similar body types, but Jalen McDaniels, even though he's not as good as Chris, has a different bag of offense in some ways. I don't know. It's comparable. Their threes. Their mid-range, I don't know. I would say that Jalen may have a better mid-range game than Chris, but Chris may have a better game near the basket. I mean, in some ways, they're not paid anywhere near the same amount. Chris is paid like $12 million a year, and Jalen's only making like $2 or $3 million a year, guys. It's not like Jalen McDaniels is making a super amount, and that's what I'm trying to say. In some ways, the position that Jalen is in on our roster is the really cheap potential upside that can really pay off and be badass. And instead, like, that's what I'm saying. In some ways, they want to get a home run from a cheaply paid player that all of a sudden just goes above and beyond. And that's what they're waiting for with McDaniels to hit on. Is that all of a sudden he just opens up and boom, he's on that price tag. And we're like, wow, value, value, value. And boom, that makes our team even better. In some ways, that's the way GMs have to run their NBA teams now with this new salary cap, is they got to get some guys that have potential or aren't reaching it, pay them low and hope that they grow big on top of that. And in some ways, that's what Jalen McDaniels is right there. And I can see the promise. I can see what Bobby Masai see in him. And it may be that close to him turning the corner. Seriously. In some ways, we may be like, listen to me right now. And then next year, you'll be like, holy shit, you were right about Jalen McDaniels. This year, he's helping us so much. And Darko wanted to make him a role player. And he is a role player that's sound for us this year. I don't know. It may be asking a lot. And maybe a huge leap that you guys just don't see could be possible. But I could see it being possible still. I can. But Jalen's got to work really hard this summer. And if he can remold himself in a couple of different ways, he'll be fine. I could see it. I could see it. Let's see. Okay, where am I? I'm on Trevor. IQ says he and Scotty are being connected more. Yeah, they playing video games, Call of Duty with each other yesterday before the game, during the day. This is really, really good. The bonding between Grady, Scotty, RJ, IQ, Kelly, Jakob, all those guys, very, very important. Very, very important. And it's good. They seem like they got personalities that'll get along. I know Scotty really respects our new guys that came in. Like, he's seeing the effort that guys like Oshai, Emmanuel, RJ, and Kelly are putting in. And he's like, yeah, I like these guys. These are my new guys. And I'm ready to go to work with them. Duke's saying, forget about the percentage of getting the 6th spot. It's a lottery, no guarantee. In fact, every time I simulate the lottery tankathon, 7th seems to move up in the draft more than 6th. Yeah, I mean, in some ways, that's what the predictions are saying. If you want to look at this specifically, Jason, I can show you exactly where I'm checking this. It is on Basketball Reference, and this is the page. There's 2 charts. The top chart is showing the percentage of where we're going to end up in the standings. And the second chart is our percentage to get different picks. And if you look at the second chart, it's not changed very much. We have a 45% chance to be in the top 6 picks. We have a 55% chance we won't. So that's just really what it is. They say we got almost a 9% chance to get the first pick, y'all. 9% chance to get the second pick. 9% chance to get the third pick. 9.5% chance to get the 4th pick. So it's interesting. We'll have to see how this goes. But 45% chance to keep our pick is just the way it's going to be, static. It's not going to change, guys. It's not going to change. Chris is saying Yak, Barnes, RJ, Gary, IQ, Kelly, Wara, Dick, Abaji, JFL. This could be the team next year. Maybe a 7 seed, being conservative in my thinking. Yeah, I don't know. I think we could be better. David's saying we're getting the 2nd overall pick this year. I like that kind of thought, David. We get number 2 pick. I like that. Wayne's saying our first quarter was good based on the starting crew. All went to shit with the bench. We need a dedicated point guard for the second crew. Later stages of games, Scotty and IQ are going to be on the court. Yeah, I'm excited about that. there's a lot of promise. The first quarter was really eye-opening and badass. The second quarter showed us some of our weaknesses still. Yeah. Duke's saying you have a better chance of winning the lottery than the results remaining the same 1 through 6. I haven't seen one draft yet that there wasn't movement in the seeding. Well, we want to hope that we're the one that jumps up then. In some ways, that's what we got to look at, Jason. If you look at what I just put in the link in the bottom, you can look and see exactly how it all breaks down. It's right there. You can see exactly how it all breaks down. And you're right. There's a 55% chance we're giving that pick to the Spurs. There's a 45% chance we're keeping it. And that's it right there. David's saying it's inevitable. It's a lottery. Congrats on the W this week. Duke rocks. There you go. He didn't win. You guys are the two guys who lost. Peter and HC won. So, yeah, you are the two that lost in the semis. Duke saying, got the L, not the W. That's the way the cookie crumbles. There are some really good teams this year. Feel bad for the Dick pick, though. His team was ravaged by injuries. Yeah, JP Country Kong, he had a really good undefeated streak for most of the season, and things kind of fell apart near the end. Yeah, I saw that too. David saying, Gary wants to be here. That's worth a lot to me. Scotty also really likes Gary on the team. That's also important in some ways. I want to keep the family together. I want to keep Gary here. He's a legacy player. We'll have to see how it goes. We need to be smart about it, though. Right now, y'all are saying 81% want to keep Gary Trent over Grayson Allen. Yeah, I'm with that. You guys are sticking and staying loyal. I like that. Yeah. This week, you're getting the W is what I'm saying. Okay, so you're saying he's going to beat you because you're not going to try. Why don't you want to try and get that bronze medal, David? You just don't want to have it at all? It's like, if it's not the gold one, I don't even want it. Is kind of where he's at. That's prestige. In some ways, that goes into our history for our league, that if you get third place. So in some ways, you get points, too, for your fantasy Yahoo profile, too. You might want to try and win this week, David. If you're already trying to say, yeah, you're going to win, you're going to beat me, because you think that's what's going to happen. If you don't try, David, then in some ways, you're going against your whole attitude this whole season. Seriously, you have something to play for. You're not totally out. You're playing for third. You're in the bronze medal game. So, try and do that. Duke's saying, I'll work hard for third, but we'll see. See, I know Jason's going to go for it because he understands. David, I hope you understand. You can still get third right now. This is what I'm trying to say. Chris is saying, Lex, Haslam was in a way Miami hometown enforcer. Laugh out loud. Spoelstra had him keep players in line. No chance Boucher could ever create such a role here. Why do you think that, Chris? He's a hometown guy for Canada. In some ways, he stayed loyal to Canada because he values Canada. In some ways, he could have signed with somebody else in his last free agency, but he wanted to stay in Toronto. And in some ways, he took less money to stay here. I don't know. I was saying that scenario would be awesome. Don't be hating on my idea because you don't think it's valuable. No, you don't understand what Chris does at the end of the bench. Somebody's got to sit at the end of the bench. Sometimes it could be a devious one, somebody who's not very happy, a sullen person. Well, if Chris is sitting at the end of the bench and he understands the whole situation, he's the guy there to make sure the good times are at the end of the bench and everything, the vibes check from that part of the side of things. So I'm saying there's value in Chris having him around. As I said before, he's friends with Scotty, just like Gary. Also, he's a champion. He's the last champion on our team. He's the last linkage to our championship year. And in some ways, that should be valued, besides the fact that he's Canadian, a hometown hero, just like Udonis Haslem. So I don't agree with what you're saying. Sure, Udonis was an enforcer and a leader on the team, but so can Chris. Chris can be a leader on this team behind the scenes and around it for culture and legacy. And also just because he's that guy at the end of the bench who's been through it. And in some ways, I trust Chris sitting at the end of the bench talking to DJ Carton and Jakob Poeltl and keeping things going down at that end of the bench when guys are hurt and good vibes. So that's the way I kind of look at it right there. Yeah. Duke's saying it was your brother, Peter, that's in the finals. Yeah. Peter Saborn going to the finals. David's brother against HC. Yeah. Good stuff. David's saying, yeah, my team has fallen apart over the last couple of weeks as expected. It is what's going to happen. Harriet's here saying Dame's new name is Timeout. I know that's Jam Jaws. Jam Jaws comes in under another name sometimes. Although if this is Harriet, welcome and good to see you, Harriet, also. But yeah, Dame's new name is Timeout. All right, I'm going to give you a dog. Should I give that to Jam Jaws or should I give that to Harriet? I think I should give that to Jam Jaws. I believe that is Jam Jaws is what I remember from before. Smooth saying, watch Joel Osteen, man. I don't know if I want to watch him, Smooth. I'm not going to be trying to get no like big mega church kind of shit if I do this. I'm going to go and find the right kind of domination locally and just keep it on a real local level. I don't want to get into any of this mega church bullshit because I know those motherfuckers are about that more than real spirituality. No, I can't get behind Joel Osteen. I already know too much bullshit about him and his mansions and the way he's fleeced people through faith. No, I don't believe in him. I'm not going to go watch Creflo O'Dollar. I'm not going to go watch Benny Hinn. I'm not going to go watch any of those mega church televangelists. Fuck them. In fact, they're part of the reason why I've been disenchanted with religion for so long and didn't go to church. If I go to church, it's going to be a small church out in the country and a very small congregation. And that's it. If I do, I'm not even saying I'm going to do that for sure. It's just that Emmanuel, in some ways, is opening my ideas to it in a certain way that nobody else has ever before in my life. Seriously. Scotty on the down low also. I mean, he wears a shirt say you need Jesus. I'm starting to think about it. Well, maybe Scotty's right. That message on that shirt is getting to me. Emmanuel, look at how he lives his life in some ways. I see this life with Jesus in some ways. I mean, my parents are probably listening to me right now like, what is he saying right now? This has never been something that I've ever heard out of my son's mouth. I don't know. I'm just saying these youngsters and their belief, they have an influence on me. Once again, these guys can dunk basketballs in the NBA. Charles Barkley, they're role models. And in some ways, they're being a role model to me right now. Fiercely saying, amen, Lex. Don Staley also delivered a powerful acceptance message, and it was beautiful to watch. Not judging you crying. It's a good sign. Yeah, I don't know. In some ways, it's not like, I mean, listen, it may be a very personal thing to me at some point, but it may be something that I develop more going into my older ages. I don't know. I can't guarantee this. And don't get mad at me if I don't become a crazy Jesus person or very religious on this channel. In some ways, I don't want to do that. In some ways, it's a part of me being like, I am technically, I've always identified as not an atheist, but the other one. Yeah, I've always identified as like I can believe that there's a possibility of there being God, but I don't necessarily believe in God. I don't know. It's a weird situation. It's a weird situation. It's very personal. I don't want to turn anybody off. I believe that being Christian and believing in Jesus is a great thing for most people. But I feel like there's also a lot of people doing a lot of evil in the name of it also. And that's part of the problem right there. So let's see. Trevor's saying, I like how you're thinking, Lex. Jesus is the answer. You go on, my brother. See, this is what I'm saying. You guys are a big influence on this also, besides Quickly and them, because I know that y'all have a very strong faith. A lot of y'all. Randolph Phillips coming in all the time with his blessings. Trevor J, very strong belief in Jesus. And I'm serious. I don't know. We'll see. Maybe y'all will convert me at some point. Maybe you will. We'll have to see. Fiercely saying, although I'm Catholic, I also like Stephen Furtick, and he streams every Sunday. In the event you would like to watch him, he has a powerful messages. YouTube channel is Elevation Church. Who knows? Maybe I will talk to you guys privately in like maybe in the Facebook chat about help with maybe seeking out something. But I really am kind of like wanting to be like in a fellowship, like in a local area with people that are around me that may be familiar with like my area. You know, if I'm getting into farming and growing stuff, that may be a good way for me to network and meet good people to help in the community to like foster more community roots and connections for me going to the new place where I'm living. So we'll have to see. We'll have to see how this develops. In some ways, my dad's probably like, what is he saying? I know he's saying that kind of in some ways right now. Smith saying Osteen has a really good delivery of the message. In some ways, I don't care about that. He's a slickster. He's a shyster. In some ways, I don't want to disagree with you because he may be some of you value, but I have no respect for him in whatsoever. I really don't. I understand that he has a lot of money and he's got a lot of wealth from acting like what he does. And he can be very, very slick and very powerful with his messages, but it doesn't mean he's right for me to listen to. In some ways, I don't like that slickness. I want more real. In some ways, I want somebody who's nobody that really believes it and really walks the walk. I don't want any kind of bullshit where they have an ulterior motive that has some sort of financial backing. The fact that he has multiple homes and he has millions of dollars really turns me off. So I'm not likely to listen to those people. I'm more likely to listen to somebody like me that's very grassroots and not very money driven in their life at all. So Mischief saying, Lex, you're ready for 1 p.m. eclipse? Oh, crap. It's coming up in a half an hour. Yikes. I'm not ready, Mischief. I'm still online. I need to finish up, guys. Don't write any more comments. I know we said a lot of interesting things. You probably want to say more right now. David saying, when I was homeless as a teenager, I used to go to church randomly. When your soul is lost or directionless, something about going to church helps clarify things. I'm not overly religious, but it certainly helped me. See, I like this. You guys are giving me different perspectives about your intersections with your religiosity, and I appreciate that. I appreciate you sharing your story, David. Um, the place where I would get closest to this kind of feeling is AA. When I was getting sober in 2010, I went to a lot of AA meetings, and there's a lot of religiosity in those meetings. And I was getting some of what you were talking about, direction and help in staying sober and not drinking alcohol anymore. And that was a huge, huge help. And that may be a little bit of a touch. It may be that I'm not going to go to church, y'all, to be honest. It may be that I just find another AA meeting. And through that, I get some Jesus in my life, because in those rooms, in AA meetings, there's a lot of help, and there's a lot of that in there. There's a lot of that in there. A lot of talk about higher power and giving it up to your higher power, so that you're not the one who's kind of steering your life. In some ways, you need your higher power to guide you, and it doesn't necessarily have to be Jesus. In some ways, I've identified my higher power in the past as Mother Nature, as a natural world, as planet Earth, as the natural order of things with birds, animals, trees, bushes, and insects. That in some ways to me is like a higher power, a natural power. And some people will say, well, Jesus made all that, Lex. Well, maybe I might make that connection. And it may be a part of what I start thinking. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. I'm not going to go over the deep end on this. I know if my mom's mom was hearing me talk right now, she'd be so happy right now. Oh my gosh, she'd be so happy right now. She would be so happy right now. Let's see. Duke's saying, I thought the eclipse is around 2:20 to 2:30 in Toronto. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see when it comes. Chris is saying Pascal is a great player, but doesn't have that mindset. He likes the lifestyle, but he does work hard. RJ will become the mental leader of this team, in my opinion. It's just some people are built different. That's all it is. You don't have a Jordan mentality unless you hone it. And it really is being psycho about winning and competitiveness. And RJ has that. I'm sorry. That's just the damn truth. Shirkan saying, Raptor Streak, you're on point for IQ. During the interview, he was talking to Pat about team learning from what he notices about foul calls drawn. So I think a high rate of attacking the rim for free throws. Yeah, I'm all about that. I think that he's on a high level, and he's looking at things on another level. And as he gets more comfortable in his starting role and with his teammates, there's going to be different new levels of excellence that he can do in reading things. That side-eyed pass at the beginning of the game to RJ is symbolic of it right there. Smooth's asking me, did I start watching Battlestar Galactica? No. I've been very busy. In some ways, I don't really have time to binge watch stuff. I know you gave me that suggestion the other day, but in some ways, I really am busy. I do the stream and I do other stuff, and it just takes all my time. So I'm not going to promise that I'll ever do this, honestly, because in some ways, it's not my normal behavior to binge watch a show like Nako did over Easter, to just watch one show like all weekend, like Game of Thrones, like he did. It's not likely I'm going to watch this, just so you know. I may watch one episode just to get a feel of it, but I can't really afford to start binge watching TV shows or doing things like that in certain ways, especially with what I've got coming up very soon. Very, very busy very soon. So I'll maybe watch an episode at one point, but I'm going to tell you, I'm probably not going to watch the whole thing. Chris is saying, when you are lost and shit's bad, that's when you come to understand the Gospels. Otherwise, I don't think it's possible. That's the part of the mystery and power of the words of Christ. Anyway, this goat has got to go. My place is a mess. 2 p.m. can't come soon enough. Man, he's making me think he really has a goat at his apartment. Yikes. It's a weird thing. It's not even really that I feel like I need guidance or anything. It's just that I'm seeing the benefits that something is doing for people like Grady, Scotty, RJ, Emmanuel. And I'm like, well, you know what? In some ways, to have a little bit of extra support in that sort of way, a spiritual way, is very good. In some ways, I could maybe utilize that as I get older. It could be very helpful and comforting to me as time passes. That may be part of why right there. Let's see. Duke saying it's Scotty's team, just getting rid of the old guard and surrounding Scotty with what he needs to be a franchise player. No disrespect to Pascal and OG. It's just a new chapter. Exactly. And we're going to give them guys a shine and all the kinds of good things for them in the future. I really hope Cool Cat's not mad at me. I've noticed that she's lately not been as involved in our stream. I don't know. In some ways, we're winning now. I don't know. Cool Cat, were you happy when we were losing? And it was like, yeah, you guys are losing without Siakam, and now we look good again. Is she's not happy about that? I don't get it. Sometimes I get it. She's a very much a Siakam fan. And in some ways, she did have that energy. It's like, well, the Raptors are doing good after Siakam. I'm going to be mad about it. Or she'd be happy if they didn't do well. I never agreed with that. And I feel like that's part of what's going on here. I'm just trying to be honest and talk about this team. And yes, I have been critical of Siakam in past years. But I've been critical of every single player on this team in different ways, in the ways that I thought was fair. And in some ways, the stuff I said about Siakam wasn't anything that was that bad, honestly. I just said I wish he could be more clutch. I wish he could take over games and win games for us. I wish he could just go get baskets whenever he wants to. He can, to a degree, and he can be clutch in certain places. But it is what it is. In some ways, I look at his personality. He's such a happy-go-lucky guy. He's not playing piano with his life. But does he have that instinct that RJ has? No, he doesn't. And that's just the damn truth. And it's apples to oranges. In some ways, I love the taste of the orange, but the apple that RJ is, that's something else too. And I'm not trying to diss Siakam when I say this. It's just that I'm saying that there's something in RJ, and I would even argue that it's something in him that is not in OG, is not even possibly in Scotty right now yet, but it could be in Scotty more as time goes on. I'm just saying he's a good leader in that way, a very good leader. Let's see. Chris is saying, anyone got a recipe for jerk goat meat? Yikes, 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 yikes. Let's see. Yeah, Grace's laugh out loud. Just kidding. But for recipes, nothing beats YouTube. There you go. Yeah, just get on YouTube. You can find me. You can find goat meat, jerk goat meat recipes. Wayne's saying Raptor Street. Lex has his bias like everybody else. He takes up for Precious and Jalen for his own reasons. No problem. Some of us like Precious, but gave up. Same with Flynn. We don't have to agree. This is exactly right. And in some ways, all right, we're going to talk about Precious in particular. All right, this is the difference between how I feel about Precious and how I feel about Jalen. First of all, I want to delineate this. I am a huge stand for Precious. I absolutely blindly believe that positive things about Precious. And even though everybody says negative things about him all the time, I never believed all that shit because I know Precious is an athletic freak and he's an amazing all-around player. And he has an upside to him that's absolutely fantastic. I still believe this to this day. Now, some people would say you're just blindly loving Precious and you have a favorite. That's true. That is true. He became a favorite of mine, and I really do have a strong belief in him against the people that think he's just a loser and he messed up all the time. That I will agree with. I'm biased with Precious, but not with Jalen McDaniels. The thing that I'm doing today with Jalen McDaniels is just echoing what Darko said. In some ways, I saw the potential of this, but in some ways, I could give a shit of whether Jalen McDaniels is on our team next year. But I'm going to support our front office. I'm going to support our coach for making the decision to invest in him for 2 years and have him come back. I'm not going to shit all over him just like Josh Lewenberg did and some of the people in this chat. No, I'm going to shine a positive light and say Jalen can still get out of the mud and be something worthwhile for us next season. That's all I'm doing. It's not that I'm personally invested in it. If he doesn't get through it and do it next year, well, I'll be very critical of him and say, yeah, you're wasting our time. But because I'm a company man, I trust in Masai and I want to support my coach and what he believes, I'll go along with what he said yesterday in the press conference. So I just want to delineate the difference. I am a Precious stan, and that's very true. And I am blindly positive about Precious Achiuwa, but don't get it twisted. That's not the case in Jalen. I'm just standing with company line on that one. Yeah, that's what I'm saying there. Monique saying, W stream, Lex, keep at it always. Good times approaching. No, go Raptors for life, regardless of the situation. Thank you, Monique. We love you. Thank you for being a great leader once again this season. And I don't know, are you going to the last game tomorrow, or are you not going to the game? Have you gone to your last game this season, or are you going to go see Siakam tomorrow? We'll have to find out. Raptor Freak crew is strong. I appreciate you all. Yeah, and Monique, you let me know about the NBA restaurant plans that you have, and the rest of us, if you want to include us for sure. Kareem saying MSJ lotion for the GOAT. What is this? HC is here and he's seeing it. He's getting his kudos. Congratulations, AC, on getting to the finals and playing against Peter Saborin. You guys start tomorrow because there's no game today because it's the finals of the national championship for men's basketball. Monique is saying, Lex, I was being funny with my recent comments in the Facebook chat last night. The easiest win in our life. You took it seriously. Jeez. I thought you meant that for real. I was like, that's not that easy. I mean, in some ways it was. But I'm like, man, we've had much easier wins in our life. I don't know. I'm very literal. I don't take sarcasm very well. It's weird. I'm just not that kind of person. People will say things sarcastically, and I think they're being honest. It's just maybe part of my personality and trait. I just don't have time for like joking around. I take people for their words is part of the problem. In some ways, that can be very comedic and fun on this channel, though. But no slack on my back. It's like, well, why is Monique saying this is the easiest win of our lives? I'm like, that stagnant part in the second was tough to deal with. Duke saying, oh, dang. Sorry, David. I didn't know David's dark pick was your team. My bad. It's all good. Duke, you guys are playing each other this week. So you got still business this week. All right. Shirkan is saying to me, Raptor Streak, I'm always team Trojans with Cheryl Miller. They even made a doc about it. Women of Troy. Check it out. Caitlin and Paige may get the hype now, but women's basketball has been great for a while. I think this is exactly right. And that's what I was trying to say, maybe not as eloquently, is women's basketball has been great for a long time, but the spotlight never shone on it until now. That there's been great players that could have gotten this hype train that Caitlin Clark and different people are getting right now that may have really deserved it in the past, but it wasn't happening because there's a lot of poo-pooing. There's a lot of male chauvinism. There's a lot of like, we don't want to watch women's sports kind of bullshit. Well, things are coming around, and that's part of it. And I think Shirkan's exactly right. That, the legend of Cheryl Miller, you can ask Reggie Miller. You say, my sister's a better player than me. She was always better than me. Well, why don't we know more about Cheryl Miller than Reggie Miller? Well, because it was in the dark, and women's sports just didn't get the proper due and equality and appearance in certain ways. Some people say, what's this, Lex? It doesn't make any money. Well, it's making money now, and the shine is coming now, and that's part of it. Yeah, Firebolt saying we just have to drive about 40 minutes to see the eclipse from where she is. Okay, are you going to do that? I don't know. Mr. saying Grayson Allen is getting paid $8.9 million to Gary Trent's $18.5 million. Wow, that's a good point, Mischief. Now, if we re-sign him this summer, those guys are getting price check going up, is what I'm saying. Now, Grayson Allen, we could get him for around $12 million a year, $13 million a year. That is an upgrade. I'm going to say that right now. Because in some ways, Grayson Allen is more consistent than Gary Trent. I'm sorry. That's just the damn truth. The numbers don't lie. That's the truth. It's crazy. Yeah. HC, the silent assassin. Yeah, you did a really good job. There's that link I shared about checking our chances with our draft pick. Wayne saying there's no 100% in nothing. Darko can't unlock everybody. Don't want to waste my 240 on a fail. Let's put money on it. He's Flynn 4.0. Don't even want to type his name. You know I'm dissing. Jalen McDaniels. You think that it's just a waste? Well, we'll see. We'll see. We have the receipts. We'll come back around to this, Wayne. We'll specifically remember the two sides of Jalen McDaniels. If I'm wrong, I'll admit it. I don't care. I don't have a dog in this race. I really don't care. If Jalen pans out, I'll say, yeah, I was right. Darko was right. If he doesn't, then we'll say you were right. How about that? David saying, I always try to win. My team has just been destroyed. Well, you better try and get that bronze still, because Jason's trying to do it too. HC saying, I'm here. Y'all ready for the finals? May the best win. Listening through the Bluetooth earbuds while doing labor. There you go, HC. Be safe. Be careful. Blessings to you on this eclipse day. And yeah, it was going to get dark outside real quick soon. HC, fantastic job this season. Absolutely the silent killer in the league. An underrated top team, a team that I really didn't talk about. I talked about the Saborans. I talked about Raymond Jacob. I talked about JP. I talked about Jason Dukes and MK. But you were the top team that I kind of didn't talk about enough. And I probably should have, because you are in the finals now with Peter. And that's awesome. David saying he's Flynn 4.0, dunk for WS. All right, I'll do that because I just caught that joke now when you retold it. All right. So we're giving Wayne a dunk for what he said. 27 is the number he's got for dunks at this point. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Duke saying evil is when religion is used as a tool politically. Religion has no place when it comes to state matters and should always be separate from state. Boom, goes the dynamite. That's exactly right. And if some people on the right wing down in the States have their way, they will intertwine the government with their specific religious beliefs and force everybody to live under their beliefs. That's the Taliban. Same thing in other places of the world. They have very extremist religious beliefs they force on everyone. That is not freedom. And there's two sides to it. You can have the Islamic side of the Taliban doing it on that side of the world, and you can have the fundamentalist Christians doing it in the United States in the same exact way. Jason Duke ties it up very well. Spirituality is a personal thing. It should be never mixed in with civics and politics and governance and those kind of things. The separation of church and state is under siege in the United States and in Canada. And in some ways, everybody needs to value the freedom of religion for all, and that government does not need to be making laws with religion in mind. That's right. If you are making laws with religion in mind, it's the freedom to have a religion of whatever your choice is. And nobody's telling you what you should be or you can't be. You want to be Judaism, you want to be Islam, you want to be Christian. You have the right to be what you want to be, Hindu, whatever it is. That's what I'm saying right now. That's right. That's right. You go, Duke. I'm going to give you a 3-pointer for a very awesome comment. And in some ways, look, man, you haven't got any dunks until today. You're on the rise already, my guy. You got a 6 as of that. Two 3-pointers in a row today. Cowboy saying, what does your farmer app tell you today? All right, let's get a little brevity all of a sudden. Cowboy wants me to check the Farmer's Almanac. Let's see what they're saying today, because it is an eclipse and it's all crazy on here right now. Let's see. This is the best day to cut hay, Bradley. So if you have some hay out in the field that you haven't cut yet, you need to go out there and cut hay. It also says it's a good day to destroy pets and weeds. So if you need to get out there, Bradley, and destroy any pets or weeds or cut any hay, today is a great day to do it according to the Old Farmer's Almanac. That's right. There you go. David's saying plant your peppers. No, that wasn't on there. That was a weed and get rid of pests and cut your hay, y'all. Cut your hay. That's right. All right. Yeah, that's right. He's going to plant more peppers later. Mischief saying 8.9 million. Grayson Allen is averaging more points, rebounds, assists than Gary. 18.5 million. I like to fill the bench with 40% 3-point snipers. I like your ideas, Mischief. I can't disagree with anything you're saying is not factually correct. I think you're in some ways onto something. I won't disagree with this, although 77% prefer Gary Trent over Grayson Allen. But the price tag is a very interesting argument part for Allen. It's very interesting. I don't know. Maybe he's going to be asking for way more. I mean, that may be part of it. Who knows? Who could we pay less? That's what I'm wondering. I'll bet Masai's wondering too. David's saying, yeah, but he doesn't punch himself in the side of the head like Gary does. And that's fucking awesome when he does that. All right, David. All right, David. I'm going to give you a dunk for that one. That's pretty funny. You're at 70, my guy. 70 dunks for David. All right. Isaac's saying dunk for Lex for their daily polls. All right, Isaac. Yeah, you like that new thing? I'm just writing them in and putting them in. All right, there we go. Isaac Campbell, you're at 40. You squared it out to 40. Let's see. Monique saying, I'm going tomorrow. Yes. Awesome. That's great. That makes me feel better knowing that Monique will be in the building with the vibes, bringing it down there for the Raptor Freak family. Thank you, Monique, for doing that consistently all year. Good vibes follow Monique, the superfan Lawrence. And her presence at the Air Canada Center / Scotiabank Arena is always valued. And we are so happy to hear you going down there to see Siakam for the last game of the season at our arena. That's right. Last home game, and Monique will be there. Mr. Save, David Punch joke is hilarious. All right. You like that? All right. We want me to give David another dunk, Mischief, because you enjoyed his joke? All right. There you go. 71, David. 71. 1971. There you go. Let's see. Go Raps is what Neil's saying. Go Raps. That's right, Blackhawk. Always good to see you, my guy. Gary eating this poll alive. That's right. Monique is liking it, that we're staying loyal to our guy. Cowboy saying, later, Lex and freaks. Have a great day. The future is bright. I agree. Where's my sunglasses? That's right. I'm going to do the rest of the stream with the sunglasses on. David saying, it sounded like you said pits, not pests. It had me thinking about MSJ and a sacrificial lamb. Oh, pets. You know, I said pets. Yeah, no, I said pests. Pests. Dunk for Mo? Yeah, we can do a dunk for Mo. Let's do a dunk for Mo. I can't see. Why? Oh, you have your glasses on. That's why. 38. 38 is the dunk for Mo. These are hurting my eyes. I might need them for the eclipse, though, very soon. I'll go outside and just use these. They're probably not good enough. Fiercely saying, was on a meeting. I agree with your take on RJ. Extremely competitive and keeps tabs on which team he knows payback. He's keeping tabs during the game, too. And he's talking trash. Him and Kelly are fighting for respect for our team. In some ways, Kyle and DeMar did this kind of stuff before. Fred did this kind of stuff. It's the kind of thing where you want to make sure the refs and the other team ain't punking you, that they take you seriously, that they have respect for you. And in some ways, these guys are doing this, whether it's Kelly talking to the refs constantly during the games, telling them they need to call the calls consistently. RJ's doing the same thing. And if somebody's talking trash like D'Angelo Russell, well, RJ's getting in their face, and he's not backing down. Kelly Olynyk's not backing down from Eugene Omoruyi. No, he is not. And that's what I'm talking about right there. Dap, dap, dap. David loves what I'm talking about right now. He's dapping it up like crazy. All right, we got to the end of the chat. Let's finish it up. We're over 3 hours. Yikes, we're going to be at 1 o'clock eclipse soon. All right, the Raptors defeated the Washington Wizards last night, winning their season series against them 3-1, 130 to 122. My 5 stars of the game were Emmanuel Quickley, Gary Trent Jr., Kelly Olynyk, RJ Barrett, and Grady Dick, with a special mention for Oshai Abaji. Looking at the other guys on the bench, McDaniels disappointing. Garrett Temple came in and played really key minutes in the second half. I was very happy to see the vet out there. He was actually really good in the little bit of time he was out there. Bruce Brown, what the fuck, man? Come on. I don't even know. This guy doesn't need to be on our team. Malik Williams has been a fail since he showed up on his 10-day. He's not helping us. And Javon Freeman Liberty, 0 for 5. Really, really just a tough game for Javon with the 0 for last night in 9 minutes of play. He didn't get to play a whole lot, though, and to be fair to him. Yeah, all kinds of interesting stuff. WrestleMania weekend, our odds to keep our pick. Vince Carter Hall of Fame, all kinds of interesting stuff happening right now around the sports world and just the world in general, the NCAA tournaments, of course, all that kind of stuff. Well, I appreciate y'all watching me today. I'll be back for the preview of the Indiana Pacers game tomorrow. There is a possibility we can win the season series against the Pacers also. I believe it's 2-1 for the Raptors. So instead of tying it like we could have tied it yesterday against the Wizards, let's go ahead and beat the Pacers tomorrow and try and get dinner with Darko for the second time this season, another 3-game win streak. Wouldn't that be cool and poetic? We could do that. I think we can. So let's do it. Would it be crazy if Scotty just showed up all of a sudden and said, yeah, I'm playing tomorrow, and he matched up with Pascal? And it'd be fun to see Siakam versus Barnes once again this season. That's not totally out of the question, honestly. Scotty could all of a sudden just show up before the end of the year. He's not been ruled out for the season, just so y'all know. All right, let's go Raptors. Be proud. Hold your head up high. The future is bright, so we got to wear shades. And we're very, very happy with the new nucleus of the Raptors. This is how it's developing and shaping up, and the dedication of the new group. They really are caring about the Toronto Raptors franchise and making it better in the future. And that's what I love to hear. Commitment and professionalism, and also the will to compete and win. That's what I want from my team, and that's what we're getting now. All right, thanks for watching me. Yeah, P-Funk Fly, Funkadelic, baby. Eclipse, baby. Don't look straight at it, baby. Yeah, baby. Wear your glasses, baby. Let's go Raptors, baby. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby.